Happy Super Bowl Friday to you folks. Welcome in to Sports 56 Mornings. Boy, do we got a lot to get to on this very busy Friday. The NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and the Grizzlies ended up making an interesting move, to say the least, and rumored to have been very interested in making another move that never materialized. We will talk about that on the program. Obviously, Super Bowl 59 on Sunday. We'll have handicapping from the one and only Brandon Lang. We'll make our predictions. We'll hear from you as well on that topic. The Tigers will be back in action on Sunday in the revenge game against the Temple Owls. The Grizzlies tomorrow night hosting the number one team in the West, Oklahoma City. Like I said, a busy weekend in the world of sports, and we welcome you in to Sports 56 Mornings on this Friday, February 7th, 2025. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Siggers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. The preseason pool patio sale going on right now at Spring, just to 360-8255. John Varlas will join us at 7:25 from the Daily Memphian. At 8:25, it's the Tiger Basketball Report with Matt Dillon. And as I mentioned, the one and only Brandon Lang at 9:25. We will have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. That'll come your way at approximately 9:05. Are you fired up?
Sure.
I'm fired up. Come on, don't be sarcastic with that response. It's Super Bowl weekend, man. The best sporting event we have in this country, I would argue, in the world.
If the Cowboys were playing in a Super Bowl,
that's never going to happen.
Then I'd be fired. Then I'd be a little bit more fired up. But I don't have any dog in this fight, other than I don't want to see the Eagles win. But yeah, I mean, it's the Super Bowl. It's always it's certainly a fun event.
It's one of the rare events that bring most of us together. There are some idiots out there that don't care to watch the game, and I call them idiots with all due respect. Dimwits, nitwits, halfwits, whatever you want to say. But it will be an unbelievably high rating watched event, as it always is. I have a feeling we might get a record. Between the Chiefs going for the three-peat, Pat Riley trademark, the Swifties that'll be watching to get a glimpse of their hero, Eagles in Philadelphia, fly, Eagles, fly, pretty big market. I think we could have the possibility in all the combinations of Fox and streaming and every outlet to watch the Super Bowl, we may have an all-time record. I got that feeling. Elijah Siegers, third member of our broadcast team. What's your Super Bowl plans on Sunday? Are you kicking back at home? You going to a Super Bowl party? You going out to a restaurant, bar? What are you doing?
I will most likely be with my family. I always like to watch with my dad and with my brothers, so that's most likely where I will be unless plans change over the next few days, and I am completely fine with that. I'm great with it, and I'm really looking forward to Super Bowl 59.
There you go, and we'll get predictions, as I said, from everybody at the end of the show. We start, though, with the Grizzlies. The trade deadline hit yesterday at 2 o'clock Central Time, and lo and behold, the announcement of a bunch of trades about 10 minutes after, 30 minutes after, as they were gathering the information. And the Grizzlies made a move, not the move that people had hoped. Instead of bringing in, they were pushing out. Marcus Smart, we hardly knew you. Marcus Smart, a guy who Memphis acquired for his experience, especially in the postseason, who unfortunately had an injury-plagued tenure in Memphis, which cost them 2 first-round picks. Gone. Marcus Smart traded to the Wizards in a multi-team trade, which also sent a 2025 first-round pick to the Wizards. So in essence, the Grizzlies dealt 3 first-round picks for Marcus Smart, and it never worked. But they're looking at ways to help themselves financially. They bring in Marvin Bagley, who at one time was, the number 2 overall pick in the draft several years ago?
Bagley was taken number 2, yes.
$12.5 million owed to him in his final year. And Johnny Davis, not to be confused with the Johnny Davis from Portland from years ago. This is the Wisconsin Johnny Davis, who's been more in the G League spent time more in the G League than he has in the NBA. $5.3 million. So those are the two brought in. And Jake LaRavia, who was very solid for the Grizzlies, heads to Sacramento. So again, you loosen up your gluttony of wings and big guards and who's not going to play and who's going to play and all that. You bring in a couple of second-round picks, but most importantly, you get the money off the books at the end of the season. But you have waved the white flag on the Marcus Smart experiment, which some people are upset because they feel we never really saw what could happen, and you never got to use him in the postseason.
Yeah, I said yesterday that I thought it would be a possibility that the Grizzlies would just end up dumping the Marcus Smart contract, and they went that route. I would like to, as I've said, I would have liked to have had Marcus Smart here for at least one playoff run, because I think he could help you in the postseason, but obviously they didn't believe it was worth that. And it may have been a situation where they looked at it that with everybody healthy, Marcus Smart was going to be the odd guy out as far as the rotation is concerned, and didn't feel that, having him around here sitting on the bench would be worth that at all. And also, better for him to get him out. He probably gets a buyout or whatever, give him an opportunity to go elsewhere, do good upon him. So yeah, that ends up being a bit of a disaster. I mean, you got literally nothing out of Marcus Smart. I was really surprised that it took a first-round pick to get rid of him.
Me too.
I would not have expected that Marcus Smart's value would be that low. I would have thought some team would have been willing to take Marcus Smart for basically nothing and not required to also throw in a first-round pick in order to take him. So that was a bit surprising. Not surprised at all that they did the move to get rid of that contract. But this is one that the front office. This was a disaster. You got 39 games. Not a single playoff game out of Marcus Smart, and you're out 3 first-round draft picks. So that is not good.
Swing and a miss, and for fans, obviously, you look at it on the surface and you go, wait a minute here. It's like the equivalent of, all right, here's my car, and for you to take my car, I'm also going to throw in a refrigerator. You're throwing in a first-round pick and Marcus Smart to basically get a salary dump with the contracts you're bringing in. So it's a financial move. And like I said, I didn't think they would do anything, but I'm not surprised that if they did something, it was beneficial financially. Now, I don't know if Cameron Johnson was legitimate. He ends up not getting dealt by Brooklyn. Like you said yesterday, he doesn't have it wasn't a necessity for Brooklyn that he had to be dealt before the trade deadline because his contract is not expiring at the end of the season. So they still have him, and they can deal him if they want to deal him over the summer and any time. But there was the story that came out on the ESPN draft day show or trade deadline show, where former Warriors GM Bob Myers said that the Grizzlies, among a couple other teams, including Golden State, and we knew about Golden State, had inquired about acquiring Kevin Durant. So, when you think about it, the Grizzlies were rumored to be very interested in Jimmy Butler. Jimmy now with the Warriors. Jimmy does not like Memphis. And then Durant, you heard that Durant said thanks but no thanks for any inquiries about him coming to Memphis. Well, there's two things. One, we won't go down the road of, does anybody want to play in Memphis? But we will go down this road. If the reports are true, and Bob Myers is pretty locked in, then it's obvious that the front office, led by Zach Kleiman, knows where this team stands and that they're probably a wing away, a really good wing. It doesn't have to be a superstar, it just happened to be two superstars that they were reportedly looking at. They didn't bring any of those in. They didn't bring anybody in other than Marvin Bagley and Johnny Davis. So I wonder if today, after the trade deadline has come and gone, and there's still the market that you could pick up one of these guys that are cut from their team and they're free agents, but I wonder if they're looking at it going, we missed an opportunity. We like our team a lot, but we're not completely there. Because it's pretty obvious as they were going for these other guys, or one of them at least, to add to that wing. And that's what Kendrick Perkins said, and others have said as well, that they feel the Grizzlies are right on the precipice, but they are a wing shy. And that's where we stand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams called about Kevin Durant, just checking in to see, especially if the Grizzlies, if you're shopping around Marcus Smart's contract, you're going to make those calls and say, hey, what about this? Is there a possibility? At least kick those tires. If you're a contender, you pretty much have to do that. Not a surprise that Kevin Durant would say that, no, he didn't want to go to Memphis. I don't know where the Cam Johnson talks got to. As I said yesterday, I hope that this wasn't simply a thing where the reports out there were that Brooklyn wanted 2 first-round draft picks. I hope that wasn't the reason the Grizzlies didn't do the deal. That it was they didn't want to give up 2 first-round draft picks in a deal to get Cam Johnson, because I'd give up 2 first-round draft picks in the blink of an eye to get him. But we'll never know for sure exactly how far along those talks got, what was going to be required to make that move, all of that stuff. But yeah, in the end, the Grizzlies are really good. But I believe that they are, without a major addition on the wing, providing the size, shooting, everything else, that they're probably, a step behind. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they're healthy in the postseason, and we finally get to see this team healthy in a postseason and what they're actually capable of in a postseason when fully healthy, because we've never gotten that opportunity. And maybe they will get a chance to do that and still make a run, and didn't need any other additions to do that.
The other names that are associated with this 3-team trade between the Grizzlies, the Wizards, and the Kings: Alex Len, the pride of Maryland; Colby Jones, they both go to Washington. Your thoughts, you can text in at 901-360-8255 on that move by the Grizzlies, which again is saving money, but certainly waving the white flag as what you never thought for a second was an experiment. Bringing in an experienced player like Marcus Smart ends up being an absolute disaster. Elsewhere in moves that were made, the Suns, as we figured they would, they send out Nurkic and a 2026 first-rounder to the Hornets for Cody Martin. They also get a 26 second-round pick and Misic. Is that his name?
Yes.
So I don't know how much helpful that is. Phoenix was not able to land Jimmy Butler. The Cavaliers get DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta for Karis LeVert and George Niang. You had a couple of other minor trades. Kevin Porter Jr. goes from the Clippers to the Bucks for Marjon Beauchamp. The Pacers traded James Wiseman, the former Memphis Tiger, and cash to the Raptors. Subsequently, he was waived. There was a couple other minor trades. And then there was the Clippers getting Bogdan Bogdanović from the Hawks. I thought that was a nice, quiet, late pickup. They got him for Bones Highland and Terrence Mann. So you think about the teams in the West. The Lakers go out, they make the big Doncic trade. They acquire Mark Williams. Golden State gets Jimmy Butler. The Clippers add Bogdanovich. The Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. As we thought would happen, some of those teams in the West made moves, made big moves. Doesn't always mean that they're going to work out. Obviously, Anthony Davis and that Doncic trade goes to Dallas. We'll see where that puts Dallas. Couple of teams that did not make moves. Minnesota, which I thought they would. And Denver stand pat for the most part. So we'll see what that all means in the scheme of things. Again, the Grizzlies didn't get worse, but they weren't able to land that wing, which they believe, obviously they believe it, that they need. And others who are former players and broadcasters and people in the know, insiders in this league, feel that they're that one player away. Doesn't mean that they can't win it all with what they have. But it does tell me that certainly that front office knew that there was a little bit of something missing, and they were trying to fill that hole.
Some text here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. Raider Corey says the Smart experience ranks right behind the Parsons debacle. Is that what we're going to call them, the Smart experience and the Parsons debacle? I kind of like that. Why not wait till the offseason to do this? At least utilize his services since he seems to be getting healthy. Just not a good return on investment. Yeah, I mean, who knows what the reasoning was? Again, they may have thought, listen, he's not going to be in our rotation the rest of the way. And do we, is that going to cause problems if he's not playing? Is an unhappy Marcus Smart going to be an issue? It may have just been to do a good upon him of, hey, let's ship him out of here. And they may have also thought that once you reach the offseason, especially if he doesn't do anything the rest of the way, that it might actually have gotten more expensive to get rid of his contract. It may have cost more draft capital just to unload that contract. I don't know. Who knows what the thought process was. Again, I would have loved to see him for a playoff run, but they obviously didn't see any value in that. David says that looks like we tried and were really aggressive, but no one wanted to wheel and deal with us. Mm-hmm. The Smart deal was an unmitigated disaster. For a front office that thinks it's the hottest thing since sliced bread, time to eat some humble pie. When we flame out in the second round of the playoff, remember this moment, relying on rookies and unproven postseason players.
That's a bit concerning. Now, as I've said, by the time the playoffs roll along, you have two rookies that are essentially not rookies anymore. But when it comes to the postseason, they are. They've never played in the postseason. We know how the intensity goes up tenfold in the postseason. Plus, you're relying on Vince Williams to stay healthy. LaRavia, which probably, look, he was going to be one of the odd men out, but he had been very consistently good, and that's just a throw-in that Sacramento, I'm sure, is very happy to have. I give a lot of credit to LaRavia. I thought he was a bust. And he came back this year, and he really helped the team out. So I applaud him. Good luck to him.
LaRavia, the LaRavia thing, because they didn't pick up his option for next year, LaRavia probably is going to be gone after this year anyway. So
right,
that's the way that worked out. And in the end, the whole Marcus Smart situation is all about Jaren Jackson Jr. and
freeing up the money for his
Jaren Jackson Jr. is a very complicated deal because of actually the contract they have him on now is actually too good for the Grizzlies. So if he doesn't make an all-NBA team, what they can offer him in his extension this offseason is nowhere near what it would be. Freeing up some cap space does allow them, if they want, to raise next year's salary, which would then get the extension closer to where it needs to be, although he would still be smarter to wait till after next year, get to free agency, and then get the deal done. But if he makes an all-NBA team this year, then none of that matters because they can then give him the max, and it gets up to, I think it's 35% of the cap. It is his contract is a very complicated deal just because of his salary next year or this year where it is and what could be given to him. So
aren't they also looking to free up cap for Santi?
Yeah, and then there's Santi Aldama, who is due a new contract after this year. So they are looking obviously to free up money, and Jaron is certainly the biggest one, and just because it's such a complicated deal. But yeah, also Santi Aldama. Again, Jake LaRavia was going to be gone after this year anyway. So just sending him in a deal, whatever. And then they deemed that getting the smart contract out now was the better idea than maybe waiting till the offseason to try and unload that contract.
Okay, and then real quick here before we wrap things up, and John Varlos will join us in the next segment. Johnny Davis, as I mentioned, $5.3 million. Bagley, $12.5 million. Davis, he's not going to stick. Bagley, does he have a chance to stick?
I would assume he will be a buyout out. I don't know when he's going to be healthy.
He's been out since December.
I don't know what he's not supposed to be out for the year. I think he is supposed to be back some point this year. Maybe they keep him around. I don't know. I would guess he's probably bought out, but they might keep him.
All right. Love is in the air, ladies and gentlemen, because Valentine's Day is just a week away next Friday. With Valentine's Day coming up, Dinstall's is ready for you. They're always ready for you. Beautiful keepsake heart boxes filled with fresh handmade chocolates for your special Valentine. It's time to place your order for chocolate-covered strawberries. Nobody dips them like Dinstall's. They'll start taking your orders, I believe, on Monday when we are there for our remote, which I'll tell you about in just a second. You could also get the chocolate-covered grapes, the chocolate-covered pineapples. Man, they'll cover anything in that delicious Dinstall's chocolate. You can call, place your order. You can stop by any of their 5 locations. Obviously, the big game coming up on Sunday. You want to have some sweet treats for that as well. They're located in Collierville, Germantown, downtown Memphis, Laurelwood, that's in East Memphis, and Pleasant View, where they make the candies. And yes, we will be broadcasting our annual event at Dinstall's on Monday, starting bright and early with us at 7 a.m., rolling through John Harden's show at 1. 7 to 1, we'll have discounts for you, samples, all that good stuff will be at the Pleasant View location. So come on out and see us on Monday. It's Dinstall's. They've been putting smiles on people's faces for over 122 years. Dinstall's, fine candies and chocolates. John Varlos is next. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey y'all, it's the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th at the Agri Center. Come buy your new boat and make some memories at the lake this summer with family and friends. Premier dealers showcasing the newest ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats with huge show specials. Enter for your chance to win daily door prizes. It's all at the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th. For more info, go to MemphisBoatShow.com. That's MemphisBoatShow.com.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
I know it's not spring yet, but it's close, and right now, it's the perfect time to start thinking and planning for your backyard entertainment. Just so happens Family Leisure is thinking that way too, with their preseason pool and patio sale. Get 2024 pricing on all above-ground pools and patio furniture. Also, secure your spot for pool installation. That way, you can go ahead and start making 70% off. You want a play gym, a trampoline, how about an outdoor kitchen to go along with that new pool? They're all on sale too. You can get spas up to $3,000 off and save even more by mentioning this ad. You do that, you'll get a $250 gift card with a pool, spa, or patio furniture purchase. Winter won't last forever. The spring will be here soon, so get ready with the preseason pool and patio sale at Family Leisure, Whit Road off I-40, where family and fun all come together.
It's putt-putt time. The weather's getting right for a little time outside. Putt-putt Golf and Games Driving Range is a good place to be. At Putt-putt Driving Range, $10 gets you a small bucket of balls, use of the channels, home greens, and Tom Tracer. There are even senior rates available. Putt-putt Golf and Games Driving Range. 5484 Summer Avenue. Putt-putt Driving Range. 901-386-2992. Putt-putt Driving Range. It's putt-putt time.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Dealing with a couple of minor accidents out here. It's picked up certain sections of Tullahoma, up and down Holmes. Around the airport, it's gotten a little bit busier in the last few minutes. Coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over from West Memphis, trying to pick up on I-40 coming eastbound. Leaving Crittenden County is still moving right now. 51 southbound as you work your way down out of Millington. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They are your Valentine's Day headquarters. Go see them today. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Off and rolling here on a Friday, a Super Bowl Friday with the big game coming up on Sunday. We'll have it for you right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, beginning with that long pregame starting at 1 o'clock right here on Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Enjoy the game. I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to talk a lot more about it later on in the show. We'll make our picks. Brandon Lang will handicap it. That'll be coming up at 9:25. But right now, it's time to talk with John Varlas.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas on Daily. Check out John's prep sports coverage and much more at DailyMemphian.com. John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where the pros and preps go to get their shot. Shoot 360 Memphis. Now here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
He is the award-winning prep reporter for the Daily Memphian, but so much more. He's John Varlas. You can follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. He joins us every single Friday, most of the time in studio like he is today. And he is indeed brought to you by the great folks at Shoot 360 Memphis. Good morning, John.
Yes, indeed. Shoot 360 Memphis. You guys spent the first segment talking about the trade deadline, and one thing all these guys in the NBA have in common is they can shoot the basketball, and that's the most important thing going right now. And Shoot 360 Memphis is the best place in town to help you develop that skill. They've got the cutting-edge technology combined with the gamification. They've got great coaching over there at Shoot 360 at the Cordova location. They've got the full-sized NBA courts and the high school courts as well, if you want to get a little game in there as well. So they really have everything you need to tend to all your basketball needs. It's a great place for young people learning the game, for more intermediate players just simply trying to get better. They all kinds of subscription options, monthly, longer term. They have the team camps, of course, for you high school and lower level youth coaches out there. So give them a call, check into that. The original location in Collierville, 85 Market Street. You can call them there, 901-316-5500, or the location that opened over the summer there in Cordova on Big Orange Road, 779-317-76, got all choked up. Shoot 360, they will take care of you. They'll get you right.
So with the big week NBA trade deadline yesterday, Super Bowl Sunday coming up, does that trigger any bones in you? Bones Highland was traded yesterday. I thought maybe that would trigger something with you.
Good trade. You know what? I was thinking a lot about this. It's not a bone, but I guess it is. It's this concept. And we saw it with Ichiro. We saw it yesterday with Eli Manning. This concept of the first ballot Hall of Famer, and I guess
I'm glad you brought that up.
And I guess my thing is, okay, Eli Manning. We'll use Eli Manning as an example because he's the more recent example. So he didn't get in this time on the first ballot. So I guess my thing is, what is going to change in Eli Manning's resume or his candidacy or anything like that between this year and next year or 2026 or 2030 to make him a more deserving candidate? His numbers are going to be what they are. His resume is what it is. So if he's not a Hall of Famer today, what is going to make him a Hall of Famer in the future? And I'm not, and I'm on the fence about his candidacy in general. I mean, some parts of Eli Manning's resume say, yeah, definitely a Hall of Famer. But then you look at other parts of his resume and it kind of says, above average quarterback. So I'm split. I mean, if you want to put him in, fine. If you don't want to put him in, fine. But I guess my thing is, why not just put him in now if you're going to put him in?
Well, the thing is,
what's going to be different down the road?
Now, theoretically, it could be, like you could say, the argument would be, well, we just thought there were better candidates this year. There could be a year down the road where there's not. But in this year's class, they didn't go with a full class.
Yeah.
They had room to vote him in, and they just chose not to. And we'll see. Everybody believes he is going to get in at some point, so we'll see when it is that he gets in. Now, next year, there's Drew Brees comes available, Larry Fitzgerald comes available. So we'll
Jason
see,
Witten,
we'll
Frank
see
Gore.
if next year is the year, whatever, or when Eli Manning gets in. But yeah, it's obviously Eli Manning's not going to throw another 50 touchdowns at any point.
Right.
But
his resume will remain the same. And so I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good conversation to have. We see it so much with baseball. These guys that get in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th year on the ballots. But nothing in their candidacy changes. I guess it's just the perception of them over time that changes, right, Greg?
Yes, John, you're right on. It's a very fair point, and it was something I was going to bring up later on in the show. So let's tackle it now.
I hope I didn't ruin.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because I might have brought it up with you as well.
Yeah.
Ichiro. Now this is a little bit different, but Ichiro, nearly unanimous. One person didn't vote for him. He came out, Ichiro, and said, "I'd like to have basically lunch with the person who didn't vote for me and like to know why." That person has not made themselves, because you could be anonymous and they remain anonymous, which really pisses me off. Come on out. Have the balls to come out and say that you didn't vote for the guy. But here, not only did he not get in, and again, you can have your own thoughts on Eli Manning. That's your prerogative. Not only did he not get in, he didn't even finish in the top 7.
Yeah.
As Eli said, next year, Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Phillip Rivers. Now, do people believe Manning's better than Rivers or Rivers better than Manning? But that's 3-4 guys right off the top that you think are first ballot Hall of Famers. Not to mention the guys that didn't get in this year, including the greatest kicker of all time and Adam Vinatieri. Eli Manning, when I looked up his stats, they were better than what I thought. He threw for 57,000 yards, 60% completion ratio, 366 touchdown passes. He played for one team, which shouldn't hurt him. He threw for 2,800 yards in the postseason, 18 more touchdown passes, won 2 Super Bowls, beating the Patriots, the dynasty, both times. If that's not a Hall of Fame resume, I don't know what is. I think he should be in. But your point is well taken. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, what, the 4th year he is a Hall of Famer? Are there voters who won't vote specifically for first-time people? Which doesn't make sense because you had only one first-timer go in, Eli, in this class of 4. Is that correct?
None of them are first-timers.
None of them are first-timers. Okay. I thought Antonio Gates may have been a first-timer, but Gates, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, no relation, they go in. Sterling Sharp gets in because he was one of the Veterans Committee guys.
Isn't it true, Greg, also the case that the NFL Hall of Fame is different from the baseball Hall of Fame?
Much different.
You don't vote. It's essentially.
Well, there is a voting.
But there's like a meeting, and they basically
and they cut it down.
People they literally somebody is assigned to present the case of each guy, each finalist. So they get up and they present that case, and then at the end, once they narrow it down, then there is a vote, and you have to get 80% of the vote. Yes, to get in once you get it down to those finalists.
There's always going to be controversy when it comes to Pro Bowls, all-pro selections, when it comes to Cooperstown, when it comes to Canton. I mean, last night, that same event, NFL Honors, that announced the Hall of Famers, also had the award ceremony where Josh Allen wins the MVP, and you could certainly see that. You could also see Lamar Jackson. But the same people that voted Lamar Jackson first team All-Pro quarterback, same people voted Josh Allen the MVP over Lamar Jackson. I mean, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. What I would do, I think they should have they should police voters. And if they're absolute idiots, take away their vote.
Well, I don't know that.
You just use your prerogative on who's idiots.
Well, that's the thing. You can't, just because someone has a different opinion.
I know. I'm being facetious.
Well, and I don't. The Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson thing, like first team All Pro versus MVP. I don't have a problem with that at all, because voters look at a lot of people look at the MVP award. They could say Lamar Jackson. The All Pro is just who had the best year. Lamar Jackson, we believe, had the best year. However, I believe Josh Allen is the more valuable guy to his team, so I'm voting for Josh Allen for the MVP awards. I don't have a problem with the idea that he wasn't first-team All-Pro, but he was the MVP.
Well, how about this one?
That one makes complete sense.
How about this one? The guy's the MVP, but he's not the offensive MVP, the offensive player of the year, rather.
Well, that's always that's
is Saquon Barkley.
That's always good.
And it happens in the college awards too. I just think they're trying to make everybody happy. We live in the world, right? This is the wussification of America. Everybody gets a trophy and an orange wedge. I mean, that's the way it is. If the guy is the offensive player of the year, then I don't understand another guy who plays offense is the MVP. And like we had Nancy Armour on the show yesterday from USA Today, and she made the point it's become a quarterback award. She thought Saquon Barkley should be the MVP. I did too, but I knew he wasn't going to win.
Well, I mean, certainly, maybe as recently as 10 years ago, Saquon Barkley probably would have been a runaway MVP.
True.
Certainly 20 years ago. But yeah, I mean, you can make good cases for all of those guys, and I think I understand where Eli's coming from, and I think that's a valid point. If you just look at it strictly from the concept of who's most valuable, then you certainly could have a player at one position, say quarterback, for example, that's different from the quote unquote best quarterback.
Yes.
So yeah,
no, absolutely.
I get it. It's hard, but yeah, the thing with the Hall of Fame, it's just I had some nice conversations with a couple of people on Twitter about that. They said, well, Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And my thing is, I mean,
I'm with you.
You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. And in my opinion,
John, I also think politics to some degree comes into play, not with all voters, but with some voters. And there's some people that probably have Manning fatigue. Where I'm not going to vote for him. I don't know how he gets in next year with that class of all those first-year eligible players, unless, again, we have a plethora of voters who feel, nobody gets in on the first ballot when I vote, which, again, is absolutely ridiculous.
And of those guys you named, certainly you would think Larry Fitzgerald and
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees would be guaranteed. Jason Witten, probably really strong. Frank Gore, super underrated career. He probably has a strong candidacy as well. So,
who's more deserving, Rivers or Manning? Manning won 2 Super Bowls over the Patriots. Well, Rivers has more yards, I think.
And I think that would certainly tip it in Manning's favor if, comparing those two. Yeah, definitely Manning when you're comparing him strictly to Rivers.
Again, I don't even get it.
The Super Bowls should count, but then then there's guys like, Jim Plunkett won a Super Bowl, and, some of these other guys. Trent Dilfer, friend of the show, Trent Dilfer.
Right.
So, there's,
Yeah, but Dilfer didn't have the numbers that Eli accumulated over those years.
But the other side of the coin is the Super Bowl is the ultimate team accomplishment. You got to have all 52 guys pulling in the same direction to win the Super Bowl.
Darn you rationalizing everything. Come on now.
Well, I mean, the knock against Eli Manning is part of it can just be the era he played in and who else, but like he was never the all-pro quarterback.
Right.
So he was never deemed to be the best at his position at any point in his career. But he has 2 Super Bowl MVPs. If he didn't have the Super Bowls, I don't think there's any chance Eli Manning would get it.
But who was beating him out?
But he has the Super Bowls.
Right.
So therefore, everybody looks at it because everybody that wins multiple Super Bowls, all the quarterbacks that win multiple Super Bowls, get into the Hall of Fame. So it's just he'll get in. It just, he was just never the all-pro quarterback. He's playing in the era of
Brett Favre,
his brother, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Like, there were some really good quarterbacks
That's
who
my
were
point.
the all-pro quarterbacks at that time. I think he went to 4 Pro Bowls, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, doesn't mean you can't be a Hall of Famer and be the 4th best quarterback that's active during that time, or 5th best quarterback during that time. But again, it's an interesting debate. I'm glad you brought that up. When we come back, we'll obviously check out what's going on the prep scene, but I also want to get your thoughts on what the Grizzlies did yesterday before the trade deadline came and went. Ken John Varlas joining us from the Daily Memphian. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Exercise. The exercise coach is ready for you. Strength training only takes 20 minutes twice a week with special computerized exercise equipment designed to maximize your workouts and minimize your time. An exercise coach gives you personal workouts by one-on-one with a trainer. Check out the exercise coach at exercisecoach.com/Lakeland or exercisecoach.com/Lakeland. Injury or knowledge.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
What happens to former real estate agents when they want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosenberg, actually Shell Run, with Mark Spencer Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored that former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I am good at marketing. Not merely putting a sign in the yard and making it sales. Over the years, I have developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and you win. Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that I am one of them. So if you or somebody you know is thinking about selling a home, remember what other real estate agents have been in business with. Then call me, Sheldon Rosenberg, at 483-0546, or email me at memphisrelocate.com. I will wait to hear from you and take advantage of this good market. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Thank you.
Grizz Nation, don't miss your Grizzlies tomorrow at 7 p.m. for an epic battle against the Western Conference leading Oklahoma City Thunder. The first 5,000 fans get a classic edition Super Grizz tape and mask set to celebrate Grizz's 30th birthday. Get tickets today at Grizzlies.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:45 the time. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers, and John Varlas. All right, JV, prep-wise, I know last week we were talking about the playoffs just around the corner, so obviously we're getting closer to that.
We are. The regular season is winding up. District tournaments will be starting very soon. The big news, Greg, actually this week, though, was off the field. The TSSAA Legislative Council met in beautiful suburban Mount Juliet. And if you've never been to Mount Juliet, it's quite nice.
I stayed a week one night there.
Did you? Really?
Did they meet at the? Do they meet at the top of Mount Juliet? Do you got to scale Mount Juliet to get up there for the meeting?
You do not. But,
Okay.
You mean like the gods on Mount Olympus?
I thought that's what it was. I thought maybe we just right up the top of Mount Juliet.
No,
they do it all.
Actually, it was at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn in Mount Juliet. I went up for the meeting because we journalist types in the prep world were expecting that it might be a significant meeting with impactful changes to the transfer rule. It turned out not to be so. There were 3 proposals on the table that would have changed the transfer rule, including one from Chattanooga Baylor that would have essentially provided a straight 1 year, one free, no questions asked transfer for high school athletes. You can, if you're at Central and you want to transfer to Germantown, you can do that. Once, no questions asked.
So no matter where you live, any of that stuff.
No change of address.
Okay. This was Baylor's proposal?
Yeah, it was Baylor's.
I'm real surprised by that.
No hardship.
Shocked by that one.
No hardship, nothing like that. So
No salary cap.
That proposal was voted down unanimously, 12-0, and 2 other proposals, one from St. Andrew's School in Sewanee that had academic considerations attached to it. That was voted down, and then there was a Macaulay proposal, which was extremely complicated, and it was good, but it had multiple points. It had formulas and qualifiers and if this then that kind of thing. So that was voted down as well. All 3 proposals voted down to change the transfer rule.
So since you were at the luxurious Hilton Garden, was it only the rich schools that were there?
No, it was a board of control meeting.
Seriously, like, hey, Baylor and Macaulay, things are pretty good for you right now. You got enough of an advantage. Can you just leave other stuff alone? For goodness sake, you got a damn worldwide roster you've put together. Do you really need to be able to take transfers with no penalty as well?
Well, and here's the thing: the Macaulay. This is interesting, Eli. The part of the Macaulay proposal, and like I said, there were like 10 steps to it. It had a lot of different points, but part of the Macaulay proposal was actually to limit the number of international students. So the weird thing was there seems to be a kind of a conflict between the Macaulay administration and the Macaulay athletic side. So that was interesting because the Macaulay athletic director, clearly voted against this. He was certainly not in favor of this, but it seems like the administrators from Macaulay kind of were looking for way. Essentially, they're saying, yeah, we've had an advantage through this loophole. Here's in all our benevolence and all our magnificence, here's how we propose to correct this for everybody. But that didn't work either. So no changes to the transfer rule. I still feel like there are going to be some changes coming. And a lot of this is in response to the Educational Freedom Act that Governor Bill Lee and his administration passed not long ago, which essentially provides vouchers for private schools and things like that. And then you get into all these things about restriction of movement, or can you prevent students from, having freedom of choice and where they want to go to school and that kind of thing. Legislation, so it could get really complicated going down the road. But, I say bravo to the TSSAA for now for recognizing that, and Mark Reeves, the executive director, said this, multiple occasions. He said high school sports are different. We're not the NCAA. We're not travel ball where you can play on a different travel team every other week if you want to. High school sports are different, and we're going to, do our darndest to keep it this way while also at the same time acknowledging that, it's a changing landscape and we have to adapt to that as well.
What would you, if you were the czar, what would you do as far as transfer rules?
He is basically the czar.
Yeah, in his own mind.
I wish. I don't get consulted on these matters. Like I'm just a spectator. But no, it was interesting to watch the debate. I don't think you can have I don't think you can have just a one time. I don't think you can have no questions asked transfers. I think you have to have some kind of guardrails. I think if you were to have this, you would see the formation of super teams. I think you'd see a bunch of kids getting together their junior and senior years and say, hey, my guy Ralph is the quarterback over there at wherever. I'm a receiver. Let's go play with him. I'm a running back. Let's go play with him. And they all get together. And
it happens at every other level.
That's one part of it. Then I can see it also, hurting the smaller programs that are kind of struggling to make it as it is. I mean, you guys know there's lots of football teams out there now that are, maybe 25, 30 guys, period. Well, what if the 6 or 7 or 8, capable ones, they end up getting poached to transfer somewhere else. Then what do you do? I think it's going to be dangerous to the smaller programs than the programs that struggle with numbers as it is. So I wouldn't do that. I mean, I think you have to have some kind of guardrails. I don't know personally what that looks like, but you definitely have to have some guardrails in there.
All right, and then on the court or any other sports that are, we're getting ready for spring sports as well. Anything else noteworthy needs to be brought up here in your segment?
Big game tonight out at Briarcrest. Rowell Arena will host Briarcrest and Christian Brothers. Always a good rivalry when those two get together. Two teams that are harboring ambitions to make it to the state tournament. Of course, Christian Brothers, Briarcrest won it all last year. And you can go out tonight and see Fred Smith if you're so inclined. In my opinion, he's, one of the best players in the state, really, really good player. So that's going on tonight at Briarcrest. But baseball's about to start up. Track, had a real interesting interview yesterday with the girls out at Bartlett Track. They've got something really special cooking up, which we'll tell you about in the Daily Memphian here coming up. So all kinds of exciting things going on. It's it never stops, guys, but it's always fun. It really
Speaking of Briarcrest, I did the game the other night, Memphis-Tulsa.
Yeah,
Jay Nash, who played 3 years at Briarcrest, did his family move, or is it just one of those deals which happens a lot now? Really good players will go and play their final year somewhere else.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you if his family moved or not. I know he did move, and probably fun for Jay to play a couple of minutes on his home floor. I mean, I think he's a talented kid. He's not getting a lot of playing time with Tulsa. He certainly didn't. He got in for the last couple of minutes against the Tigers. So I don't know what his career is going to look like, but I'm a big Jay Nash fan, and if it's not Tulsa, hopefully there will be a place for him somewhere in the college world.
All right, John, before we let you go, your thoughts on what we talked about to open the show, and that was the moves that the Grizzlies made, which was basically salary dump. The Marcus Smart experiment fizzled. Jake LaRavia on his way to Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't know, Greg. I like you said, they certainly didn't make their team worse. But, I mean, we all know how things are with injuries, and they definitely depleted their depth, right? I mean, do we even know for sure if Marvin Bagley is going to join the team? I mean,
he's hurt right now.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had moments, right?
He's probably will. I would guess he probably does not play.
Yeah, he's had moments in the NBA, I guess, and but he's certainly not a person you're going to count on. I don't know. The whole thing with Marcus Smart kind of left. If I'm a fan, it would kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth because I just don't know there towards the end how bought in he was, how engaged he was to necessarily be a part of this team. I mean, that injury seemed like it lingered on way beyond normal for a finger injury. I mean, again, I'm no doctor and I'm not in his body, but I don't know what that was all about. But this front office, we were talking off air, this front office has done a ton of good things. Their success rate is certainly way above 50-50, but they've missed on some stuff too. And Marcus Smart is going to go down as a miss, and it's going to go down as a big miss because ultimately it cost them draft picks and draft capital, 3 first-round draft picks. So, that's something perhaps they could have done something different with, something better with. And your analogy was spot on. I got to get rid of this junk car, but I'm going to give you my fridge too. I mean, yeah, it really kind of shows you how Marcus Smart was apparently perceived around the league, right?
Right. And is it crippling to the team? No, by any stretch of imagination. They still have their team intact.
Yeah.
They stepped up to the plate. They took a swing. They missed, but 3 first-round picks in getting, first of all, 2 in getting him, 1 in getting rid of him. So where would you put the market when you think about, and like you said, this administration, this management has done a really good job. They've hit on more than they've missed. But when you look back at the history of the Grizzlies and their big misses, obviously Thabit, I think, stands alone. But where does the Smart rank with the likes of a Chandler Martin, maybe even a D. Rose who came in? Chandler Parsons, a Derrick Rose, which you hope to have him for 2 years. He lasted less than a year. I mean, about some other moves that they took shots with. Again, you're taking shots, and sometimes you're not being able to hit it out of the park.
I think it's on par with probably the Justice Winslow thing. They tried something that they thought would help the team, and it just didn't work. And, you take a swing. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. I will always, though, Greg, and I know we don't have a ton of time, but I will always push back on the Thabit thing a little bit because, it's not like the Grizzlies drafted him with the second pick and everybody else in the league had him projected with the 30th pick.
Right.
He was, consensus projected to be drafted around that area.
It's like Portland with Sam Bowie.
Well, no, it's not like Portland with Sam Bowie because Sam Bowie had missed 2 full years with injury. I mean, that was just mind-bogglingly stupid. I mean,
All right.
The thing with
Sam Bowie missed 2 full college seasons.
Yeah, you're right.
The problem with Thabit is how good that draft was. That literally, if you had thrown a dart at a dartboard, if you hit anybody else, you were going to get a great player. And there were warning signs that they had about Thabit that they chose to ignore.
Yeah. They did choose to ignore the warning signs. Eli's right, but people always bring up the Thabit thing, and I'm not picking on you, but it's if he was projected in the teens or the 20s and they drafted him in number 2, it's like, oh my gosh, what are you idiots doing?
Right.
But
I'm on record of saying, back in the day we were doing the show, I said that's the guy they should have picked. So I'm on record of saying
if
that.
the Wizards had the second pick or the Hornets or Cleveland or whoever, they probably would have drafted him second or third or fourth or whatever.
And the other thing is, look, when they made the trade for Smart, they couldn't look into a crystal ball and see injuries.
They couldn't
see that he would be miss more games than he played in.
Yeah, and I have probably an abnormal affection for Tyus Jones and what he brought to the table. So I hated to see Tyus Jones go. I really value the point guard position and therefore the backup point guard position as well. So I hated to see Tyus Jones go for Marcus Smart. Mm-hmm. I felt like Marcus Smart was probably on the decline from his high point in Boston, but I didn't know that he was going to decline quite to these depths.
John, thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Have a great weekend. He's John Varlas.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday to you.
Who's your pick?
My pick is, I guess I'll go with Philadelphia.
Okay. We'll make our picks later on in the show. Make sure to read John at the Daily Memphian. He's got your preps covered. But like I said, it's preps and a lot more at the DM. Follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. Catch him every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. He is brought to you each and every Friday from the great folks at Shoot 360 Memphis. Call them in Cordova at 901-779-3176 or in Collierville at 901-316-5500. We're coming back. We'll open up hour 2, opening up the phone lines to you, the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You can call in, you can text in at 901-360-8255. Talking Grizzlies moves, Super Bowl, Eli Manning not getting into the Hall of Fame, at least on the first ballot. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th at the Anchor Center. Come buy your new boat and make some memories at the lake this summer with family and friends. Premier dealers showcasing the newest ski boats, pontoons, fishing hooks with huge show specials. Enter for your chance to win daily door prizes. It's all at the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th. For more info, go to MemphisBoatShow.com. That's MemphisBoatShow.com.
Hi, I'm Billy Lavin, defender for University of Memphis Soccer. Refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle for up to 72 months. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, sponsored by NCUA.
I'm so excited.
I had a feeling you'd be excited.
That doesn't even begin to describe how I feel about the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Well, technically, it's the same location.
Same location, but a very different Central Barbecue on Central.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to confuse people. The new Central Barbecue location on Central is the same place as the old Central Barbecue on Central.
But it's so much more. It's big, for one thing.
It is a whole lot bigger. Well, I mean, I think it has to be.
Because everybody in Memphis is going to be flocking to the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Where the old Central Barbecue on Central used to be.
Details.
Love is in the air, and it's time to remember all the sweethearts in your life. The best way I know is Dinstall's. It's Valentine's Day on the 14th. We're celebrating on Monday with our annual Valentine's Day remote at Dinstall's, where they make the candy on Pleasant View. We will be launching chocolate-covered strawberry season. That begins on Wednesday. Remember, nobody dips them like Dinstall's, and we'll see you on Monday on Pleasant View.
This traffic report on Sports 56 is brought to you by Palo Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South Palo Windows. The standard is affordable luxury.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase out here on 385 Bill Morris Parkway, dodging a few rain showers in certain areas out here this morning. Give yourself extra time as it starts to finally pick up over here on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way to Sycamore View Road as it gets busier. I-40 at Watkins near that 101 connector. Also on the increase up from the south on 55 northbound out of DeSoto County up through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Diamonds are forever. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Siggers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The preseason pool and patio sale is going on right now. 49 degrees. It will get up to about 52 today. That is it. We'll see a little bit of sun after some morning clouds and maybe some more rain, about a 40% chance of rain earlier in the day. Then tonight, cloudy skies, a low of 50. Tomorrow, 73 for your high, possibly some early rain, and then some sun. And then Sunday, it dropped down 31 degrees, according to the forecast, to a high temperature projected at only 42 and a low of 35. Hour 2 of the program is brought to you by the great folks at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler. Every Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know Jaren Jackson Jr. will play for Team Kenny Smith in the NBA All-Star Game or Games? Jackson was picked on the same team as Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson, and on paper, it looks like a horrible team that Kenny Smith put together compared to Team Shaq and Team Barkley, but the proof will be in the pudding. James Gaddis Jewelers, Valentine's Day is a week away, folks. Jay's going to visit us, Jay Gaddis, next week for a few moments to tell you about all the specials that are going on. There's some amazing deals going on at James Gaddis Jewelers just in time for Valentine's Day. Watches and rings, bracelets and necklaces, pendants, vintage and antique jewelry, all kinds of great stuff for Valentine's Day and for any time, any occasion during the year, a birthday celebration, an anniversary, a graduation gift. And of course, if you're getting engaged this year, make sure James Gaddis Jewelers is one of the jewelers you check out for those beautiful engagement rings and wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets. It's James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, right between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at GaddisJewelers.com. Do you agree with me? On paper, it looks like a crappy team that Kenny Smith put together.
I don't crappy. I like the way they did it. They basically did themes. Chuck took all the international guys. Shaq took the old guys, and then Kenny kind of was the leftovers, the guys that didn't fit either one of those categories. So I kind of like the idea of doing it with the themes to each one of the teams.
Well, the international players right now are dominating the league for the most part. I mean, your top line players are mostly international players. Then the veteran players, you're talking about the likes of, a guy named LeBron James. By the way, did anybody watch that game? It was late last night, the Lakers and the Warriors. What LeBron James did? He scored 42 points. He's knocking down threes like he was Steph Curry. Curry, who had a big second half, had 37. So these veteran players, they're part of that team. And then you have the young guns. Again, I said yesterday, Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't know where he'll be picked, but he's going to be good. He's right now in a groove. Perfect timing for him. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is terrific. Jalen Brunson, he can score the ball, but I don't know. I mean, I think it would be an upset if Kenny Smith's team wins. And then, of course, the top team out of that Rising Stars sequence of games, which includes Zach Edey, Jalen Wells playing on the same team, that winning team will play in this round-robin all-star game affair against these teams that I just talked about with.
Not round-robin.
Well, not round-robin, but there's multiple games. I'm trying to figure out the terminology.
They'll play a semifinal game.
Multiple games. They'll play, so 2 semifinals and then the final, which, again, they're trying to mix it up. It's still not good, but it's not like the Pro Bowl. And we'll see maybe the possibility of Zach Edey and Jalen Wells playing again in one of the semifinals, maybe even the actual final of the NBA All-Star game, which, of course, Jaren Jackson Jr. is hoping to be in the final as well with his participation on Team Kenny. If you want to comment on what the Grizzlies did or didn't do in your mind, you want to talk about the Hall of Fame announcement last night in the NFL. Eli Manning does not get in, was not a top 7 finalist. You can. You want to talk Super Bowl and your predictions. Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines are open to you at 901-360-8255. At 8:25, Matt Dillon will join us for the Tiger Basketball Report as we preview the Tigers and Tigers and Temple. Last night I watched Temple play South Florida. Really good game. They did not have Jamal Mashburn Jr., who's the leading scorer in the American. He's ahead of P.J. Haggerty. They're 2 of the top scorers in the entire nation. But Mashburn ahead of Haggerty going into at least the Memphis game against Tulsa the other night. Haven't seen it updated, but he didn't play, so his average didn't change. Whether or not he'll be available Sunday, I don't know. But even without him, Temple forced overtime, then they forced double overtime. But in the end, South Florida got the win 100-91 over the Owls in double overtime. And again, Temple comes in on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, a 1 o'clock tip-off in that one.
Look at you watching Temple and USF.
I had a bet on it.
God, I hope you had something to watch that. Jesus, I'm not sure why you bet on it, but good on you. Did you win the bet?
I won.
Good for you.
But again, with me, it's never easy. I'm looking, Mashburn's not playing. Temple's at South Florida. South Florida's okay. Memphis has to go to South Florida next week. I figure South Florida, they're only a 1.5-point favorite. Like, okay, overtime. Double overtime.
I feel like there had to be some.
It's never easy.
Sure, there was not any paint that you could have watched dry rather than watching that bad basketball.
It is what it is.
Got a couple of texts here. One, Kip, who's watching on YouTube, says our old friend Flexibility has returned. I thought Chris Wallace was no longer with the Grizzlies.
Old friend Flex.
They did create Flexibility. Again, it's really they're just creating all for Jaren Jackson Jr., some Santi, but yes, it is. Flexibility is, yes, in that flexibility does allow that.
Yeah, but if you think this is going to be a tax-paying team, you're kidding yourself. It's never going to happen. They're never going to do anything outlandish, crazy. So, again, the talk of being interested in Butler and being interested in Durant, again, I'm going to take it at face value that Bob Myers has good inside information. I don't know financially how everything would work out. I'm not a numerologist. I don't do taxes. I don't understand any of that stuff. It's very complicated. But I do know this. if those reports are true, and again, I would believe them, it tells me that Zach Kleiman and company feel that this team, while being very competitive and certainly able to make a run at an NBA title, is probably somebody short. Whether it's a specific player, as in KD or Butler, or a specific position, as in the wing, which was brought up by Kendrick Perkins, among others, that's where they feel there's a little bit of a deficiency with Memphis. Now, they have a lot of wing players, but it's just that standout wing player, like a Cameron Johnson, who, again, was not moved by Brooklyn. You know, how serious were discussions, if there were discussions at all? We know there was inquiries early, but as I said the other day, the Cam Johnson sweepstakes talk started to dissipate over the last 3, 4, 5 days. Now, that's because you had other names that were popping up as well, and Jimmy Butler basically commandeered the whole entire trade talk conversation. And then you had the Luka and Davis, which came out of nowhere, that trade, which just blew up social media. But it ends up being that Cam Johnson stays. Doesn't mean that he'll be there long term in Brooklyn. There's also going to be, I believe, a Ben Simmons buyout is what is reported. And then all of a sudden you see like 2, 3 other teams will be interested in Ben Simmons if that's the case. Like, why? Why do teams keep going back to the well for guys that stink? I never understood that. The guy stinks. Why are you going to pay him more money?
Because if they pick him up, it'll cost very little.
So they think finally he'll come through. Finally he'll be good when he goes to that next team.
Well, I mean, the guy used to be good. Like, so if you get him at a league minimum contract,
he's
take
toast.
a swing.
He's toast. I guess I don't mind. I don't mind taking the swings, and that's what we talked about in the first segment. You could be upset now because essentially it cost Memphis 3 first-round picks to bring in Marcus Smart and get rid of Marcus Smart. But again, it's Marcus Smart. Proven, veteran, leader, good teammate from everything I've heard, and you're taking a shot. And when Memphis has criticized the Grizzlies organization when they don't take a shot. So you take a shot. Sometimes you're going to nail it. Other times you're not. It's unfortunate. It didn't work out. I got no problem with that. Then I also have no problem with making sure there is flex. We joke about it, but that they have that ability financially for Jaren Jackson Jr. coming up down the road and to retain Santi Aldama. And as you pointed out, they didn't pick up that 4th year for LaRavia, so he was going to be out anyway, but he was consistent. It also eases up a little bit of the gluttony of the congestion of what you had at the wing, where you now have maybe more defined roles and not have a bunch of different players that are playing on different occasions, different games. You got these guys are playing, this guy's in the rotation. The one thing that shocked me was Jitty's still a member of the Grizzlies. I thought if anybody was gone, it was him. But there you go. That's the moves that were made.
I mean, he's got years remaining on his contract.
No, I understand, but I just thought that maybe
very tradable contract.
I thought that maybe a team would actually be able to use a guy like him, a veteran player who rebounds the basketball incredibly well for his size.
Richard on Facebook says players like Durant, Jimmy Butler, know the Grizzlies have their big 3. What star wants to come in being a 4th option? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Kevin Durant would not be a 4th option.
Right, exactly.
Kevin Durant, the reason for not wanting to come to Memphis had nothing to do with, I don't want to be your 4th option. Guarantee that.
Yeah, and I went on Twitter yesterday.
Jimmy Butler or anybody.
Right, yeah. They are not 4th option guys, okay? But as far as the whole don't want to come to Memphis thing and that theme, it's getting tiresome.
On that says, I know as Memphians, and I as well, we get offended when these top-tier players say thanks, but no thanks to Memphis. I'd say just relax. The Bucks, Thunder, Charlotte, many more are in the same boat. All of these teams have to draft their stars. I can remember when people were sent to Sacramento to die career-wise. Yeah, again, I don't like...
Well, Damian Lillard was not drafted by Milwaukee. Giannis was. And you're right, and they won an NBA title. It can be done. There's no question about it. But you go back to Oklahoma City. When they had Durant, they had Harden, they had Westbrook. They were drafted, right? Would they ever come there again? No. Now, maybe things will change with what's happening now. But Who knows what will, if they don't win it all, who will be back with the team. These smaller markets it's a lot more challenging than the bigger markets for several reasons. Financially, number one, but more importantly, it's where these guys want to be. They want to be in big cities, more marketing opportunities. They want to be in beautiful seaside cities as well, whether it be Miami or what have you. So, yeah, it's not a destination. But what is that this Grizzlies team has a chance to win a title. They have a chance. So wouldn't you want to be a part of that? I know Durant's got 2 titles already. He's got 2 rings. I don't know. You would think that would be attractive to some people.
This whole thing, because I've said it for years that people don't want to come here. People have tried to argue with me that that's not a problem at all, although every factual indication is that they don't want to come here. But that's not a... It's not like Memphis is the only market in the NBA they don't want to go to. These guys who are millionaires, multimillionaires, they want the amenities that these huge cities provide them. It's 5-star restaurants and hotels. And it's just the stuff that you get in these massive big cities. That's what they look for. And Memphis doesn't provide that for them.
Yeah, it's tough to sell them on. We have about 60 barbecue restaurants.
I've been told this by agents and by people that have made these decisions. People still will always try and argue with me. It is not a knock on Memphis. Again, that just makes Memphis one of probably more than half the markets in the NBA that fall in that category. They just that's when you have the choice. And most of these players control where they want to go, for the most part, the superstars. Mm-hmm. They're just not going to choose these types of markets. That's okay. That's why, if you're the Grizzlies, you have to be really good in the draft. And they've been really good in the draft. And so that's why they're able to put together still a team that is competitive. It's Oklahoma City, all these. That's why you have to be really, really good in the draft. And they've been able to do that and put together teams that have a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of opportunities to try to bring in somebody for a rental. It just doesn't happen. It happens in other sports more.
Like the Chandler Parsons thing. The Chandler Parsons thing to me is the worst move the Grizzlies have ever made because they were told by their doctors, don't do this, and they ignored it. But I even understand the reason they did it because it was that was as big a name free agent as they could possibly get.
Right.
And so even being told, no, this dude's knees are scrap metal and crap and aren't going to last, they thought, well, let's take the chance because this is as good as we're going to be able to do in the free agent market. And it completely backfired on them, which was, again, very predictable from the doctor's perspective. So this regime, the Marcus Smart thing, no, it wasn't like Marcus Smart had some track history of injuries that you go, what the hell are they doing? You wouldn't possibly bring that guy in. This was just they took a shot, made a trade to get a guy who could have helped, but he got hurt, and we'll never know what would have happened had Marcus Smart been healthy. I don't have a problem at all taking the swing that they took on Marcus Smart. It turns out to be a disaster. Okay, those are going to happen. Every team in the NBA is going to take swings at guys that end up backfiring.
Exactly. No, I'm with you 100%. Now, again, if they could have gotten Cam Johnson but didn't want to let go 2 first-round picks, and maybe they were more reluctant after wasting
that, I would have
as many picks as they had to bring in Marcus Smart, 2 first-round picks, and then eventually dump Marcus Smart, another first-round pick. Yeah, maybe they were more reluctant to not give away a couple. But, yes, I would have an issue with that. But we don't know if that's even got to that part of the discussions, whatever happened. Was there initial discussions about Cam Johnson? The Nets said, well, thank you. We appreciate your interest, and then nothing really materialized. But again, according to Bob Myers yesterday, the Grizzlies did inquire about Kevin Durant. And we know, according to reports, that they inquired about Jimmy Butler. So whether that's to bring in a big name, I don't think so. I think it's to bring in a player who happens to be a big name who they think can take them over the threshold. And that's what it's all about. Right now, you have to seize the opportunity of having one of the better teams in the NBA. And if you don't feel that you're complete, that there's still a little bit that you're missing. And if you get that person, it's going to take over the top, then you go for it. That tells me that that's probably where they feel. It doesn't mean that they can't run the table. I just think it's going to be a little bit harder. I just think there are several teams out there that are better than the Grizzlies right now.
Another text says, at the moment, I believe the Thunder, Nuggets, and Lakers are the biggest threats to the Grizzlies. Well, obviously the Thunder are, the Thunder are awesome. Now, they don't have the playoff experience. Nuggets have gotten hot here. They've moved into third. Now they've passed Houston, who is struggling and lost 5 in a row. Nuggets have won 5 in a row.
They're the best player on the planet.
And they've obviously have won a championship, so they certainly. And then, when you're talking about the Lakers, now with LeBron and Luka together, you've got certainly playoff experience. You've got championship experience. The Lakers, if healthy, certainly on paper, look like they've gotten better. When you add Luka to your right. So, they could be a very dangerous team.
Yeah, and there's question marks about the other ones, right? The Clippers, a healthy Kawhi Leonard. They bring in a shooter like Bogdanovich. Could they make a run? Certainly. Minnesota doesn't seem like they're the same team since the Randall trade, the Karl Anthony Towns trade. But they're very talented, led by a special player in Anthony Edwards. Golden State, again, maybe they're a tad better because they're bringing in Butler. I don't see it, but you never know. Draymond Green's healthy now. Can they make that last hurrah run? Possibly. San Antonio's probably a season away, but you bring in Fox with Wemby. If they can get into the play-in and be a part of the postseason, who knows about them? I think Phoenix is in disarray, but you still have great players, Hall of Fame players. It's going to be fun. There's no question it's going to be a fun run. And then there's the Rockets. The Rockets are that wild card team that has so much young talent with a couple of proven veterans like Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet that they are a dangerous out for anybody. No question about it. Real quick, Matt Dillon on the other side. We'll talk to him about Tigers basketball. Before I forget, the SEC yesterday announcing that they brought in $808.4 million in revenue from their media rights deals, and that has been distributed to all teams in the conference for the 2023-2024 season. So this isn't this season. It was last season. So they pay out full shares to 14 schools. Each got $52.5 million, which I believe is less than the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken, Eli. And then Texas and Oklahoma each received $27.5 million since they did not join until July 1st of 2024. But nevertheless, that is a big chunk of change. Jenkins Floors and More, family-owned and operated local business that specializes in flooring and carpeting, located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. You can call them at 662-469-9350. They sell at wholesale. Skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process, whether it be hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They will come to you, they'll give you a free estimate, and they will install within a 2-week time period. That's their promise to you. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Give them a call or stop by. All you Sports 56 listeners, ask about your family discount at Jenkins Floors and More. It's the Tiger Basketball Report. It's coming up next with Matt Dillon. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 95 FM.
Briggs Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Briggs Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines in the largest match ovens in the Mid-South, Briggs can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Briggs Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish
Get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill, a summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls in Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on summer near Graham.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? For New Year's, I wanted to try Ozempic, Wegovy, or other GLP-1 medications everyone's talked about. I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online. I can get GLP-1 medication for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy? Yes. Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door. How do I get started with Zelfie? Just send them a text.
Text DATES to 200-300 to get started this New Year's with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less. 100% online. Don't wait. Text DATES to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text DATES to 200-300. DATES to 200-300.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. The police are busy with a couple of minor accidents out here. It's trying to show some signs of building up through the Midtown area in the last few minutes on 240 North as you work your way up towards South Parkway. Still looks good right now. I-40 over here at the 101 connector coming past Watkins as it increases with that volume. Coming down I-40 right now at 269 as that traffic builds coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County. LLV offers everything a fun couple or a single could want. Luxury lifestyle vacations, offers all-inclusive resorts and cruises all over the world. Google llvclub.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:30 the time, halfway home on this Super Bowl Friday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers. And now time for the Tigers Basketball Report. It's brought to you each and every week by Napa Cafe, Colonial Hardware, Binswanger Glass, and Central Barbecue, as we're joined by the professor, Tigers radio analyst, Matt Dillon. It's time for the Tiger Basketball Report. Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. How are you doing this morning?
Doing fantastic. Before we look ahead to the revenge game on Sunday against Temple, the Tulsa game that I had a chance to call from a TV and streaming perspective, and you obviously on the radio. Maybe you saw it differently, Matt, but the way I saw that game was the first half, Memphis came out sluggish. They made some defensive mistakes, not getting back on certain plays, were beaten down the court, and needed a wake-up call. They got it at halftime, and then when they went on that little spurt, that 3-4 minute spurt when they hit 3 threes and got a couple of steals, that pretty much sealed the deal for the dub.
Yeah, it took care of it. It's funny, this team has done that all year long, Greg. They'll come out slow, and then we'll play around in the second half. They look and go, let's crank it up now. And again, you got to give credit to coaching staff making adjustments at halftime, and certainly this team, firepower-wise, is amazing. You know, the number one three-point shooting team in the country. They've been that way all year long, and now you've added another sniper in P.J. Carter, who's just lights out right now. It's just hard to beat this team, especially in the league. You know, the teams that are nothing against everybody else in the American, but they're clearly a big step behind the Tigers right now. And when they turn it on, getting those rallies going, there's just not an answer for anybody else in this league that can stop them.
You mentioned the three-point shooting. How surprised are you that here we are in February and the Tigers are the number one three-point shooting team in the country?
To be honest, yes. Now, it's funny because Coach Hardaway had talked about this team, you know, last summer is going to be a good three-point shooting team, and you kind of believe it a little bit, and well, maybe it's just talk or whatever, but, man, they've walked a walk. You know, you've got almost four guys shooting 40%. You know, that's the thing that's really crazy when you think about it. I mean, and you know, Rogers is at 38.5, so that's strong, Eli. That's absolutely a tremendous advantage to have because those three-point field goals make so much difference, obviously, to the Tiger team. And I think that thing gets them going. But I'm surprised at Haggerty. You know, he didn't shoot the three that well last year when he was at Tulsa. Man, he's up there over 40%. How do you defend this team? You know, if you come out and try to guard the perimeter, well, now they're going to jam the ball inside to Dane Danger. And that guy has really come on as well. So there's an inside-out combination for this team. That's why they're going to be very difficult to handle from this point forward.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you had certainly Haggerty had shown he was not a three-point shooter at all. Not that he shoots a bunch of them, but his percentages were up. And Tyrese Hunter wasn't that good of a three-point shooter before over a long track record, and he's up over 40%.
He is. I think the thing about it is, you know, one of the experienced players. I mean, even Haggerty's an experienced player. He started at TCU. You know, he only had a lot of ability when he came into college, but I think the ball movement has improved offensively. I think they've gotten good looks for most of the time. I think that's one big thing. And second, this team really determined to me. I mean, they're really unselfish. They'll share the ball, and I think is really a testament to this basketball team. You know, a lot of the guys will, hey, I want to get mine. And just like Kobe Rogers, he's really kind of sacrificed a little bit in some ways when you think about it. I know he's taken a lot of three-point shots, but, you know, at times he won't push it, you know, and then all of a sudden, like at Rice, he hits like three big ones in a row right there at the end of the game to help seal that thing. So this has been a very unselfish basketball team. That's impressed me more than anything else, that they've been able to share the ball, and there's a lot of assists usually in most games, but they can start out slow with their firepower. Boy, it doesn't take them long to overtake your opponent. So I think it's a real testimony to this team. And again, I think Danger, his blossoming here at the second half of the year has really been a really nice thing for the Tigers. He's such a load inside. I mean, there's nobody in this league, interior-wise, can handle him. You look, you saw that freshman for Tulsa starting against him. I'm going, this guy's not going to be able to handle it. And he didn't, you know. And that's just one of those things that, you know, I think that, you know, Dane, I think finally has gotten himself, you know, ready to go. And the big thing, I think, on Sunday is not getting too hyped up about the revenge factor with Temple. And you go back and look at that game, one of the worst three-point shooting teams the Tigers had all year was in that game, only 30%. So that's a kind of aberration, I guess you could say, when they played Temple. They got out-rebounded again, Eli. That's the thing that really, you know, I think settled that game up there. 22 offensive rebounds by Temple. They got to be 49-25 on the boards, and they got physically pumped. Well, they really did.
That was the
really
clunker. That was the clunker, Matt. Right?
It was.
You're going to have one of those. I don't care who you are. That was the clunker. You hope you don't have more than one. Matt Dillon joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. All right, you brought up a number of different things. And we'll talk more about Temple here in a second. Obviously, Temple played last night, went double overtime, lost at South Florida, did not have Jamal Mashburn Jr., so I'm not sure about his status for Sunday. But with Danger, You're right. It's a revelation with Danger. Since Penny has reinserted him into the starting lineup, they have that offensive capability in the paint early in the game to set the tone, where Moussa Cisse really doesn't bring that to the table offensively. Usually you let the defense lead to the offense, but now they're making a statement or trying to make a statement early in the game. I think the only thing that can slow Dane Danger down, Matt, is when he gets into foul trouble. He's been in foul trouble in some games. Other games he's done a good job. I thought it was his best all-around game. He filled the stat sheet. He rebounded. He blocked shots, helped defense, communicated well, and didn't make stupid fouls. And when Danger does that, he's on the floor more. That means he can do more things offensively. He is a lethal weapon now.
No question about it. Plus 16 in analytics. He played almost 31 minutes the other night. So, yeah, I agree 100%. When he stays out of foul trouble and he does what he does best, and not to do too much. Sometimes I think he'll get up like at the free throw line, try to put it on the deck and drive down and do too much. But when he gets in that paint area, gets in that block down there, 4 or 5 feet away, guys, he's going to score. He's just so big. And he's agile. He's got great hands. He can move left and right. He can step back into the lane. He can step back to the baseline and score on you. And I would hate to be a freshman trying to guard him inside. It's just a mismatch. And I think that's one thing, his testimony of how the will he has to come back. He could have sulked and not done anything. He wasn't starting. And Cisse was getting the nod. And Coach Hardaway, I guess, pulled the buttons just right. He changed that starting lineup, and it certainly worked out exceptionally well. I think the big thing, guys, for me going forward is turning the ball over. I think if the Tigers can, really clean up the turnovers a little bit more, they're still leading the league in turnovers. This team's like a locomotive coming down the track, and you're standing there waiting for it to pass. And a lot of momentum right now. We'll see how this thing goes forward. I just don't want to get too high on Sunday, though. I mean, I think they should take care of business against Temple. Again, if Mashburn doesn't play, obviously, maybe they're holding him out. I don't know. I wasn't aware, that nobody said what it was. Is he hurt or he going to play or whatever? But you got the two best scorers, in the league, and two, Mashburn second, NCAA, and PJ's fourth. So, be quite a battle between those two guys on Sunday. Both can play.
Tiger Basketball Report brought to you by Colonial Hardware, Napa Cafe, Ben Swinger Glass, and Central Barbecue. Any concern for you from the defensive side with what, Tulsa, who's not a good offensive team, shooting over 50%, over 40% from three, or was it just, again, against a bad opponent, maybe not a full effort defensively?
It's funny. Guys are 18 to 25 or whatever. I mean, I know what I was like when I was that age. You just, you get on the road and you go, this is Tulsa, and psychologically, and maybe you don't mean to do it, but I think you do it sometimes as a team, and you look over there and say, no, this guy's two whatever in the net and everything. When they turn it on, though, I mean, you can see the spurt coming sometimes. There'll be 1 or 2 plays, like he had 3 threes in a row. That sparked him. Haggerty goes out and pops the first one at long range. And I just think when they get, mentally focused, guys, and ready to play, I think that defensively they'll pick it up. But, going at home is playing a lot different on the road, too. When you can press and do things, referees kind of give you a break a little bit sometimes when you're playing at home. But the only concern to me is in the NCAA tournament, do you have these lulls? That's the thing that you can't do it. You got to come out and you got to play 40 minutes. I think they'll probably be refocused when the tournament starts. I think, you're playing these teams. I'm not knocking everybody else in the league, but Eli, Greg, to be honest with you, the commissioner's got to do something about this league schedule-wise. You look at the schedules these teams are playing, the rest of the teams in the league, it just hurts it. I mean, it really does. And now they drop behind the Sun Belt and Conference USA, and that's going to make it a one-bid league, basically. I don't think anybody else will make it. They shouldn't, but we'll see with their net rating and where they are. And,
yeah,
I'm concerned. And psychologically, you just go out and say, hey, we're going to go through the motions until you got to crank it up in the second half, and this team's been able to do that.
Well, to your point, yeah, something needs to be done, but I don't know what can be done. I mean, if you schedule harder non-conference, that's more losses for these teams anyway. They're just mediocre for the most part. I'm a little surprised with UAB that they weren't better to this point, but still capable, and they'll be ready when Memphis returns the favor and heads down to Birmingham. But they're also in the situation where, like, for example, Tulsa. You did the game, I did the game. How good was that young man, Archie? How good was Schmeichel, the big guy who's a freshman? They're going to probably end up losing those guys because somebody's going to pluck them away, maybe even Memphis in the league. But outside the league, they're seeing those players. They're scouting all the good players in the league outside of Memphis's roster and going, we can get that. We can get that player. We can get that player because they don't have the big financial commitment to their basketball programs. That really hurts.
That's the point. There needs to be more financial commitment like that. They're conference wide. It's what the SEC did. The SEC made the decision a few years ago. We need to be a lot better in basketball, and these schools made commitments to their basketball programs.
But the SEC has the financial resources. These teams don't necessarily in the American. Do you think that should be a mandate from Pernetti that a certain amount of money has to be put into the basketball program? What can they do?
Yeah, they're going to have to do one financially, and second, it's hard to ask coaches to, like, Okonkwo, for example, and he's trying to get that program going, and he's got to get wins any way he can, and it's hard to tell the coach, well, you can't schedule, these games, because you got to play tougher teams. You just got to bite the bullet, I think, sometimes. And some of the, I think, the ADs and administrators of these other schools, they got to let some of these coaches, if they go that route, give them a little leeway a little bit if they can, because it's just hard. I mean, like for Rice, for example, they played an NAIA team and lost, earlier in the year. You just can't have schedules like that.
Right.
And it really hurts the league. There's no question. The reputation. Now, one more thing, guys, I think, I know they said the net's not going to be as much consideration this year or whatever, but
we'll see.
Get in that room for those seatings, and there's a human factor in there. Some of these guys saying, man, look at this league, how bad. Are they going to let that weigh in the back of their minds? That's the only thing kind of worries me. I'm not saying, they're going to go to 8 or 9, but you might be one seed either way, which can make a difference. Will they give the Tigers a lot of benefit of the doubt when they get ready to make that decision? And of course, another thing is the tournament's on Sunday, and it's right at the end. That bracket's basically done by the time you get in there and winning the tournament. I'm not knocking the Tigers or anything or the league, but, it's hard for them because even if they win the tournament, is it going to move them any right at the end of that when they, come out with a bracket? So that's another thing I think they're facing a little bit in this thing.
Well, I think that's a very fair point. Of course, if they don't win it, that means another team gets in from the American.
Right.
It's going to steal some, so they're going to have to do some adjusting. But you're absolutely right about the committee. We've talked about it ad nauseum here. They have to look at the totality of what Memphis has done. I think they will. I don't think there's any denying what they did in the non-conference portion of their schedule. Yet every time they win, even by double digits, they lose a spot or two in the net. So if you're going strictly on the net, then I don't get it. Then you're in trouble. Memphis they're 43rd in the net. Well, they were yesterday. I'm not sure where they are today. But 43rd, you're telling me there's 42 teams better or 42 teams with a better resume than Memphis at this point? That's crazy. That's asinine. All right, let me ask you.
I totally agree.
Let me ask you one last thing, Matt. I know this was brought up. I think Jeff Brightwell brought it up on the coaches' radio show the other night, and it's been brought up before. Do you think Memphis, and Cal may have done this, remind me if he did, do you think Penny should play a good opponent sometime in January or February when they have the 1 week where they only played the one conference game, and so they have a better opponent getting closer to tournament time?
Yes, I wish he could schedule that. I know it's difficult to do it. Everybody's in the league play and things like that, but I think that really helped the Tigers. And go back, the Final 4 years. They had that Gonzaga series in there where they played it, during the league, and I think it really helps. I think it refreshes you a little bit.
I don't think there's any question, Matt. I thought they did. I thought Cal did that. I don't have as good a memory as you, but I think Penny is actually thinking about that. So maybe
the Final Four year, the championship game year, they had the Tennessee game.
Oh, was it during?
Tennessee,
it was
because
that
it's
time?
lined up, the 1 and 2 game as well. And then, I think the big thing about that, the mental aspect of it, and I don't know if stale is the right word, but when you get in conference play, and back then the guys didn't move around like they do now, so it's the same teams a lot of times. You knew guys playing on the other team. Now, at least one thing, it's different. And you go next year and be a completely new team at any school. So that's one of the crazy things about it. But I think you made a great point of building programs. It's so hard for these teams like the Rices and the Tulanes and everywhere to keep these players. Everybody looks and sees, hey, we developed Joe Smith over here. Let's go get him. That's a hard thing.
You did all the
really
hard work.
Overcome.
You did all the hard work. We're just going to use our money to bring them into our program. He is the one and only Matt Dillon, the professor. Of course, you hear him on Tigers basketball radio broadcast, part of the Tigers football network as well. And he's part of our show each and every Friday for the Tiger Basketball Report during the Tiger basketball season. He's brought to you by Ben Swanger Glass, Central Barbecue, Napa Cafe, and Colonial Hardware. Have a good call on Sunday, Matt. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
They did the 2 years with Tennessee, then they did 2 years with Gonzaga, then they did 2 years with Xavier, then they did 2 more years with Gonzaga.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did. I just don't have the greatest memory, but I forgot that Tennessee game was during the conference slate. And it is hard to do so because you got to hook up with a team that also has that week where they're not playing the 2 games. I don't think you want to play 3 games in a week. Memphis has at least 1, or is there 2, where they only have the 1 game? Saturday to Saturday, they don't have the midweek game. But that's what you have to do, and I think Penny is absolutely looking at that. All right, we'll take a break, come back, wrap up Hour 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. Commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Hey y'all, it's the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th at the Agri Center. Come buy your new boat and make some memories at the lake this summer with family and friends. Premier dealers showcasing the newest ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats with huge show specials. Enter for your chance to win daily door prizes. It's all at the Mid-South Sports Boat and RV Show, February 14th to the 16th. For more info, go to MemphisBoatShow.com. That's MemphisBoatShow.com.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20-plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
we're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
NFL makes it official. The league is going to Dublin, Ireland next year. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been designated as the home team. I'm not sure if they've announced the other team, but they'll play in Dublin as the league continues to expand to different cities, to different countries all around the world. And there's thoughts that one day there'll actually be a Euro conference involved in the National Football League. Of course, last night, NFL honors, all the awards handed out, the Hall of Fame announcement. But we know that Bill Belichick won the night, right, gentlemen? Bill Belichick easily won the night.
I like the fact that he was wearing all of the rings, like, dude.
It's crazy. Look at this.
All of his Super Bowl rings on. I'm like, dude, those hands are heavy. Those are heavy hands right there.
He had to use a second hand to put a 6th ring on. It's a good thing that nobody tried to carjack him when he went out to the car because it's like brass knuckles. But his young girlfriend, 24 years old, she was dressed to the T's. She looks quite nice. And Bill looks like an usher at the Orpheum. But either way, good for him, man. No hating here. Good for the North Carolina head football coach, Bill Belichick. She'll love it in Chapel Hill.
God bless him. That's good work.
If you can find it. Again, the Hall of Fame class of 2025, Jarrett Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp, who comes in through the Veterans Committee. Nobody else elected. Eli Manning does not make it as a finalist. No first ballot players that were eligible this year made it. Adam Vinatieri, considered the greatest kicker, maybe greatest special teams player in the history of the game. He doesn't get in. Very interesting. As far as the awards are concerned, Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow. The Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain II. Mentioned earlier, Saquon Barkley wins Offensive MVP, and it's Josh Allen winning the MVP.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Player of the Year, excuse me. Josh Allen's the MVP. 27 votes. Lamar Jackson got 23. It was close as we expected, but again, the same people that voted Lamar Jackson first team All-Pro also voted Josh Allen most valuable player. Again, using your own rationale, your decision on how you want to vote it, but some people thought that was quite odd, to be honest with you.
It was actually they announced Patrick Surtain as Defensive Player of the Year. However, nobody informed the graphics guy, apparently, that Patrick Surtain was winning that award, as they put up Myles Garrett's name.
Oh, no, they didn't. Did they really?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, I didn't see it.
And then when they were doing the Hall of Fame class, when they announced Sterling Sharp, because they were having him come down the aisle. It
was Eric Allen.
They went to the Eric Allen camera. I'm like, that's not Sterling Sharp. That's Eric Allen's like. By then they got to Sterling Sharp. He was like already on stage. I'm like, oh well, we missed Sterling Sharp's intro. But hey, I was like, when they did, I was like, I know who's next. I bet Eric Allen's next. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go on a limb and say Eric Allen's the next name they announce.
I saw that part of it. Yeah, I saw Eric Allen there just like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go up there? We mentioned earlier the class for next year, the first-year eligible players. Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, not to mention, but I will, Marquise Pouncey, LaShawn McCoy, Des Bryant. Gotti is on the ballot next year. Stephen Gostkowski. Look, Adam Vinatieri didn't get in yet. Stephen Gostkowski, to me, could easily be a future Hall of Famer. He ain't going to go in next year. And again, the question is, will Eli Manning go in with all these other guys in their first time on the ballot? These are some big-time names. So we'll see how that all turns out. Again, I think Eli should have been voted in yesterday. I think he has the credentials. I don't get what people – look, it may not be as good as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, his brother, but it's darn good.
Classic Arms, when it comes to firearms, Classic Arms is the place to go with over 700 firearms in stock. They've got whatever it is that you need, whether it be handguns for home defense, whether it be rifles, shotguns, whatever, for hunting, whatever it is, new or used. Every top brand name, you'll find it all at Classic Arms. They not only sell guns, they also buy guns. They will trade guns as well. They're at 1740 Germantown Parkway. It's right behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova. Also online where you can shop 24/7 at classicarmsofmemphis.com. Any gun supplies that you need, gun cases, gun safes, ammunition, whatever, they've got you taken care of there as well. They also do free gun inspections and free gun appraisals, free bore sighting. They do it all. If it deals with firearms, they're going to do it and take care of you at Classic Arms. Again, 1740 Germantown Parkway, right behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova, or online at classicarmsofmemphis.com.
Coming up in hour number 3, plenty of talk about some game that's being played on Sunday. They call it the big game. I don't know if it's that big. But anyway, we're going to be talking about it. We'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation, coming up next to open up hour 3. So if you'd like to participate and don't want to get shut out, 901-360-8255 is the number to call. I can tell you that my question is about the NFL, and it is about the Super Bowl. I'll give you the specific question when we open up hour 3. Then Brandon Lang at about 9:25 will handicap the big game. Got some college football news as well to get to. Got some college basketball news, and back to the NBA as well, including the Grizzlies tomorrow night in action against Oklahoma City. Will that be a game that kind of indicates where they stand against the top team right now in the Western Conference, or is it just a game? We'll talk about that. It's all coming up in hour 3. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tiger Nation, get ready for Sunday's big game with Memphis men's basketball as the Tigers welcome Temple to FedEx Forum Sunday, February 9th at 1 o'clock. In recognition of the big game, fans will be able to enjoy the excitement of Tiger basketball from the plaza level for just $59, or get a club level ticket for 59% off. It's time to stand up, Memphis, and cheer on your first place Tigers. Be sure to get your tickets now at GoTigersGo.com.
I'm so excited.
I had a feeling you'd be excited.
That doesn't even begin to describe how I feel about the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Well, technically, it's the same location.
Same location, but a very different Central Barbecue on Central.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to confuse people. The new Central Barbecue location on Central is the same place as the old Central Barbecue on Central.
But it's so much more. It's big, for one thing.
It is a whole lot bigger. Well, I think it has to be.
Because everybody in Memphis is going to be flocking to the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Where the old Central Barbecue on Central used to be.
Details.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown. And in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Andy Wise here. I'm an actual customer of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South. I was so impressed, I endorsed Pella as the standard in affordable luxury. And now, Pella's even more affordable. 12 months, no interest, no payments, plus 50% off installation. Mention you heard this on the radio and get another $500 off. I'm telling you, as your consumer investigator, as their customer, make the wise choice of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South.
Online radio show is on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive captain Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Moore covering SEC sports ball, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to first throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 live 6 p.m. and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South sports station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a little bit of volume coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County as we check it out live again on 40 West from Chambers Chapel, Canada Road, all the way down to Sycamore View Road. Still looks good in the Midtown area as that just now actually starts to pick up northbound on 240 over here up by Lamar. Hey, if your yard needs a little bit of help this time of the year, call Lawn Solutions. With over 30 years experience, that telephone number for Lawn Solutions, 901 area code 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 once again, our Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Final hour for us this week here on Sports 56 mornings. As they say, another one bites the dust. Getting ready for a sports weekend that includes the big game on Sunday. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. The preseason pool and patio sale is ongoing at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 50 degrees. It'll get up to 53 today. Overcast skies. The chance of a rain shower now drops to about 15%. So probably rolling out of the area. May see it, may not. Tonight, cloudy skies. Still about a 15% chance of rain. Then tomorrow, again, a little bit of rain could be in the forecast, although there is going to be some sun. 73 for your high. And then Sunday, it plummets. The temperature does. 42 for your high. 36 degrees for your overnight low, and about a 25% chance of rain. Coming up a little bit later on in the hour, Brandon Lang will join us to handicap the big game. Oh, by the way, we talked about the Hall of Fame class for 2025, NFL Hall of Fame class, small class. Sterling Sharp gets in, and I think he was long overdue to get in. And it was really cool because his brother, Shannon Sharp, was the one who knocked on the door and all that good stuff and told Sterling that he had gotten in. Long time waiting. They are the first brother combo to make it into into Canton. So if Eli does eventually get in, years from now, and you're having your bar bet over a beer, and you say, hey, it was the first brothers to get into the Hall of Fame. Don't say the Mannings. Eli still got to get in. But Shannon Sharp, Sterling Sharp, the brothers are in the Hall of Fame. And also, speaking of Hall of Famers, Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk has joined with Hall of Famer Deion Sanders at Colorado. Marshall Faulk, the new running backs coach for the Buffaloes. How about that?
Yeah, he knows a thing or two about the position. Played it at a pretty high level.
And could be very attractive for running backs to want to come and play and learn under the tutelage of not only Coach Prime, but Marshall Faulk. Time now for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
You can jump on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines right now at 901-360-8255. 10 in a row is brought to you weekly by Napa Cafe.
That's right, Napa Cafe at 5101 Sanderland, serving up great food, doing it now for a 27th year. That's right, 27 years they've been doing it over at Napa Cafe at 5101 Sanderland, online at napacafe.com, where you can check out the menu, make reservations. Of course, Valentine's Day is a week away, and you want to take advantage of a great night out, enjoying a great dinner at a great place. Well, Napa Cafe certainly would qualify there. Get there, get in line, make your reservations, get ready to go enjoy some of their great food over at Napa Cafe. 5 different dining rooms, including their private wine cellar to serve some of that great food. Maybe you just want to sit at the bar and have an appetizer and a drink for happy hour, or just one of their great meals in one of those great dining rooms, including that private wine cellar to celebrate a special night out. You can do it at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderland. Get online, napacafe.com. They're open for dinner Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. Again, 5101 Sanderland. The winner of 10 in a row will get a $50 gift certificate to Napa Cafe, along with a $25 gift certificate to the Owner's Box and a $25 gift certificate to Sunrise.
All right, some good food on the horizon for the winner. Here's the question. NFL head coaches with multiple appearances in the Super Bowl as a head coach only. So if they were an assistant, doesn't count. If they were a player and played in the Super Bowl, it doesn't count. These are NFL head coaches who have coached in a Super Bowl multiple times as a head coach. So that's 2 or more appearances as a head coach in the Super Bowl. 360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. The Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines are open.
Again, $50 to Napa Cafe, which should be nice to go towards maybe a Valentine's Day dinner. $25 from the Owner's Box, $25 to Sunrise as well for the winner of 10 in a row. 360-8255, 360-8255 to play 10 in a row. Dan is going to lead us off. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Yes, this is multiple coaches in Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, it's NFL head coaches, right, who have made multiple appearances in the Super Bowl as a head coach only. Okay?
Okay.
Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
Pete Carroll.
No.
360-8255. Open lines right now. Again, NFL head coaches with multiple appearances in the Super Bowl as a head coach only. So basically, you're talking about a head coach who has coached his team. It could be 2 different teams, but has done it twice in his career.
360-8255, 360-8255. That's the phone number to play 10 in a row. Again, $50 to Napa Cafe, $25 to the Owner's Box, and $25 to Sunrise. All on the line to go to a winner of 10 in a row today. Got some folks getting in line right now, but if you want to get in line, get on the phone, 360-8255, 360-8255.
By the way, we'll make our Super Bowl predictions after we are joined by Brandon Lang. For what it's worth, I wouldn't take any of our predictions to heart and make bets on it. Use your own intelligence.
I would take him to be the gospel.
No.
Never
do
been
not
wrong
do that.
before.
I don't want to be blamed for that. And if you have a prediction for the big game on Sunday, you want to text us, we'll get that out there as well. 901-360-8255. That's either to call in for 10 in a row or to text in your prediction for the Super Bowl. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line's phone number. All right, who's next?
Jonathan, what's up?
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Tom Flores.
No.
360-8255 is the number.
Next up is Mario. Hey, Mario.
Mario?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
How are you? Mike Tomlin.
I'm doing good. Yes.
Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Doug Peterson.
No.
Sean McVay.
Yes.
Bruce Arians.
Yes.
360-8255 is the number.
Next up is Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Tom Flores.
Yes.
George Seifert.
No.
360-8255.
Next up is Kenny. Hey, Kenny.
Kenny.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning. Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Doug Peterson.
No.
Sean McVay.
Yes.
Bruce Arians.
No.
Mike Holmgren.
Yes.
Bud Grant.
Yes.
Tom Landry.
Yes.
Zach Taylor.
No.
Bill Cowher.
Yes.
Just got in there. I thought Eli was going to hang up on you. Nice job. That's a winner right there.
Congratulations, Kenny. You are a winner. Hold on, and Elijah will let you know how to get your prizes.
All right. Second chance or not?
No second chance.
No second chance? All right. I'll give you the second chance. Tom Flores.
Yes.
George Seifert.
Yes.
Mike Ditka.
No.
You're my Ditka. Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
I used him twice. Okay. Barry Switzer.
No.
Better have gotten that one right. John Fox.
No.
That's a yes.
That's right. He got there.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
Dick Vermeil.
Yes.
John Gruden.
Yes.
No. Brian Billick.
Billick, did Billick get to do? I would say no.
No. I would have had to cut you off, though. You took too long right there for that answer. There you go. That's 10 in a row. We do it each and every Friday. It is brought to you by the great folks at Napa Cafe. So there you go. All right. Some NBA. We talked a lot about it to open the show. Obviously, the Grizzlies moves, other moves that were made around the league. The Dallas Mavericks last night. Anthony Davis still hasn't suited up for them. They went into Boston. They beat the Celtics 127-120. Dallas 15 of 33 from three. Now, Boston, they hit 16 of 37. Boston is known to make those three-point shots. But again, this is a team that doesn't have Doncic. He had been out anyway. But Klay Thompson had 25. Kyrie Irving had 19. They got great bench support. Between Dinwiddie, Marshall, and Christie, they combined for 57. And they get the victory. Now, I saw the reporter, if I could find who it was, yesterday, talking about the safety of the players when they come back to Dallas, which they have already done so, I assume, and they will play once again on Saturday as they will host the Rockets. Now, is AD expected to play on Saturday? Do you know?
I am not sure if he's going to be back for that one or not.
Okay, but either way, he's going to be there. He's going to be on the bench either in civilian clothes or he's going to be dressed out and he's going to be ready to play in the game. And this reporter, I don't know what she was assuming here, and if I could find this, but basically it was like a plea to the fans of Dallas not to do anything rash. Now, I know some fans have asked for the money that they spent on their season tickets. They want that back because Doncic was traded. Here it is. One big concern, though, is just the safety of the Mavericks players and the front office going back to Dallas. We hope fans make the wise decision and remember that this is a game and that lives are far more important. This is Allie LaForce. What are we talking about here? Was there a militia ready to kill all the Mavericks when they got off the plane? This isn't the SEC, for goodness sakes. We're not killing people over games here. What is going on? The wise decision. Was Andy Wise involved in this thing? I mean, seriously, one big concern. Really? Is that even come up one bit? They're asking for their money back for season tickets. They put some jerseys out there on the steps in front of the arena. Now we're talking about the safety? They're going to attack the players? They're going to attack the front office? I don't get why they do that. Why do you say things that stupid? I mean, you want to ignite. Now you may get some idiot out there that goes, oh, well, you know what? I didn't think about that. Maybe I can attack them coming off the blade or off the bus. It's not. I mean, it's big news, man. But it's a trade in the NBA. It's not life or death, for goodness sakes.
Anthony Davis, he did go through some pregame warmups last night before they ruled him out. So I guess they're hopeful that he will be able to play on Saturday.
In the meantime, the Lakers have decided that Luka will play on Monday. That's the target date for him to play. On Monday, the LA Lakers will be taking on the Utah Jazz. It's a good way to ease into the your tenure with the Lakers is to play Utah. So they had the press conference. Then he was on court yesterday to a huge ovation from the Lakers fans as the Lakers beat the Warriors last night 120-112. And again, LeBron James is playing like he's 25.
LeBron now the oldest and youngest player to ever score 40 in a game.
Amazing. He's amazing. But I'm looking at Luka, and I'm thinking to myself, they think that guy's fat? They think that guy's fat. Then if they think he's fat, I got to be the most obese person ever in the history of the world. Maybe he has a little bit of meat on him, but if you think that is fat, you're crazy. And again, to hear some of the so-called experts come out of the woodwork to say, they were worried about, bad habits by Luka, and he wasn't the best conditioned guy. And, yeah, all he did was go out there and score you 28 points and get 8-9 rebounds and 7 or 8 assists. And he's not fat like you think he's fat. Just drives me crazy. They're trying to find excuses for Dallas to trade Luka. Again, it may work out in Dallas's favor with the trade. Maybe they'll be better than the Lakers this year. They'll finish higher, maybe next year. But in the long run, I don't see how this deal benefits Dallas more than the Lakers. Because LeBron, I don't think he's going to play when he's 50, but you never know. This guy's ready to become the face of the Lakers. And you have these foreign players, man. These foreign athletes are unbelievable. They've taken over. You look at Los Angeles. Shohei Ohtani's the face of the Dodgers. Luka Doncic is the face in waiting, if you will, with the Lakers. And I'm puzzled by now all this blasphemy about Doncic. Yeah, they made the trade. AD's a great player. AD's a Hall of Fame player. And maybe in the immediacy, he helps them. But I'm not even sold on that. I still think it was a bad trade. But it's funny how some of the people originally shocked, and they were more shocked because the Lakers had acquired Doncic, that Dallas had gotten rid of him, rather than AD. He was like secondary. It was all about Luka, and now they're finding ways to criticize Luka.
Well, they're not. I mean, they're going by the reporting of why why Dallas had the concerns and got rid of Luka.
That's rumors right now.
Is that they had concerns about his conditioning and work ethic.
How can you be concerned?
Well, you'd have to ask Dallas that. I mean, these people aren't making it up. It's going by the reporting from the people who cover the Mavericks.
I know, but the proof is in the pudding. Here's the proof. Look at his stats. Here's the proof. They went to the Western Conference Final last year. Are we going to say now that Luka had nothing to do with it? I mean,
they're not saying that. They just didn't want to pay him $345 million.
There you go.
With the concerns.
There you go. There you go. Why don't you say it? Why don't you say that we don't want to pay him $345 million?
They are saying that. That's what they're saying.
No, they're not. They're dancing around everything.
That's what all the reporting is. They because of their concerns, they weren't willing to commit to the Supermax.
Yeah, but
that's what all the reporting has been.
That's reporting. They don't know that they don't have that from the horse's mouth. I still believe that what's his name again? The GM for Dallas. Harrison. I still believe that Harrison feels that Anthony Davis is a better option for them than Doncic. And that's why he made the trade. I don't necessarily buy that they didn't want to go down to have to pay him that supermax at $350 million. I'm not sold on that. Not a guy that can lead you to the NBA Finals. I'm not sold that that's the reason. It may be an excuse, but I still think that for whatever reason, and again, you're looking at Anthony Davis, not Billy Pultz. Anthony Davis to lead your team is not a bad thing. But I still think most people look at that trade and go, if it doesn't work right away for Dallas, then it blows up in his face. Because in the long run, Luka and the Lakers win that trade. Dallas had no problem. They had no problem making that trade despite, the rumors of work ethic and conditioning. Again, I'll take a slob out there if he's scoring me 30 a game any day of the week.
Again, the Lakers don't have to pay him $345.
Well, whatever. They still have to pay him handsomely, and they got rid of Anthony Davis to do so. So I guess they have a little bit of vested interest in this guy. Jenkins Floors and More, third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Horn Lake, Little Rock, and Cleveland, Mississippi. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tiles, plantation shutters, blinds, and so much more. And they make your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. They'll get the job in 2 weeks. They'll come to you. They'll give you a free estimate. Contractors, builders, family projects. It just makes sense to go with Jenkins. 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans. They look forward to your business. Stop by, give them a call, and ask about your Sports 56 family discount. Military, first responders, you always get 10% off. Financing is available. Jenkins Floors and More, 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, or call them at 662-469-9350. When we come back, Brandon Lang, it's all about the big game. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations, a room seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. But we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear. Please listen carefully for our menu list. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for
9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it back. Come see us at the Rendezvous. Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
I know it's not spring yet, but it's close, and right now, it's the perfect time to start thinking and planning for your backyard entertainment. Just so happens Family Leisure is thinking that way too, with their preseason pool and patio sale. Get 2024 pricing on all above-ground pools and patio furniture. Also, secure your spot for pool installation. That way, you can go ahead and start making plans. Lots of new inventory is en route, so in-stock patio furniture is up to 70% off. You want a play gym, a trampoline, how about an outdoor kitchen to go along with that new pool? They're all on sale too. You can get spas up to $3,000 off and save even more by mentioning this ad. You do that, you'll get a $250 gift card with a pool, spa, or patio furniture purchase. Winter won't last forever. The spring will be here soon, so get ready with the preseason pool and patio sale at Family Leisure, Whit Road off I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Attention homeowners, it's time to score big with Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. For the first 50 callers who purchase a new carrier system, generator, or tankless water heater, choose between 60 months of no interest financing or free air duct cleaning, a $500 value. Plus, don't miss our $39 February deals. Choose from a furnace tune-up, a sewer inspection, or an electrical panel inspection. It's the perfect way to prepare your home for the season. But hurry, this winning deal ends February 28th. Don't fumble this opportunity to claim these amazing offers. Call Choates today at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
When you're working outdoors, unpredictability is the norm. So take on the toughest jobs with the 2025 Honda Pioneer 7. This rugged side-by-side looks powered in any party with reliable torque stability and smooth shifting through trails. And you can choose between 3 trails, standard, plus on the Trail Tuner First Edition. Ultimate Island Adventures. It's the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700 today at the Sun Honda 56 Road in
Love is in the air, and it's time to remember all the sweethearts in your life. The best way I know is Dinstall's. It's Valentine's Day on the 14th. We're celebrating on Monday with our annual Valentine's Day remote at Dinstall's, where they make the candy on Pleasant View. We will be launching chocolate-covered strawberry season. That begins on Wednesday. Remember, nobody dips them like Dinstall's, and we'll see you on Monday on Pleasant View. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56.
This is what it all leads up to. All these weeks and all these months talking about the big game. It's finally here. The Puppy Bowl is coming up on Sunday, and we'll get his thoughts. It's time for Brandon Lang.
It's time to handicap this week's action. Joining Greg and Eli, a sports handicapper, Brandon Lang. Subject of the movie, 2 for the Money.
I mean, I was absolutely nauseous the way that really loved the TV, tracking down with that yellow whistle all back, just putting the beat up.
Get Brandon's plays at BrandonLang.com.
Yeah, Nicholson, you're walking on that wall. You're really on that wall. And honor. Who's going to do that? Superman of that ring.
Also listen to Brandon's betting analysis on the Believe Podcast Network.
On the NFL, I'm sure people say he will be out of the league for 3 years. I guarantee if you heard it here first, he will be gone. I don't know what his dad does for a living, but whatever his dad does, he'll go in the family. But now,
here's Brandon with Greg and Eli.
He's the one and only Brandon Lang. The website, BrandonLang.com. The podcast, 2 for Your Money. You can hear it on the Believe Podcast Network. The TV show's called Cappers on Pluto Network. Our good friend, Brandon Lang. How are you, sir?
You know, I'm on such a heater in college basketball that I really don't even
care about the Super Bowl.
Really?
I'm
so mad.
Thank
I
you for
missed
the
Friday.
3 picks you gave last week.
Yeah,
all
of course,
the winners.
Of course, the 1 week I'm off, or I couldn't be there on Friday, or half the show, whatever the hell it was, and you give out 3 winners on our show. I'm so mad.
Bro, I am so dialed in right now with this. It's literally unbelievable. It started. I'm 10-2 my last 12, and my 2 losses are by a half a point. I had VMI the other night, plus 6.5 at home. I had them 2 weeks ago on Saturday when they were plus 8 against Greensboro. They beat Furman earlier, plus 9 outright, plus 8, lost by 2, should have won outright. Came back, they're 15-4 against the spread, one of the top in the country, getting 6.5, down 53-52, 2 minutes to go, lose by 7, out by a half point. The other one, which was just LSU, gives up 25 offensive rebounds and loses by a point to cover, plus 12, lost by 13. That's it. Last night, Jacksonville State. Nobody's really paying attention
You love
to
you
them.
some Jacksonville State.
I gave them out on your show.
Yep.
Stayed with them. Used them on Saturday as my biggest play of the year against 17-4 Liberty. They were getting 4, down 6 at the half, held them to 22 in the second half, won by 11. Their leading scorer, Pierre, scored 9 in the game, 3 in the second half, and they still blew them out. Last night, laying 1.5 against Middle Tennessee State, blew them out. Pierre goes for 36. They're number 1 in Conference USA. They've won 7 in a row, covered 6 of their 7. They're undefeated at home this year. Jacksonville State, keep an eye on the Gamecocks, and yeah, just dialed in, man. So let's get the Super Bowl over with so we can focus on college hoops in February.
I am the opposite. I had a 4-leg parlay in college basketball last night. 3 legs hit, and my 4th leg was St. Mary's. I go, that's a winner. I didn't even pay attention to the score. I was watching other stuff and then turned around and go, oh, my God, they lost? I didn't even look for the buyout or whatever it is. I thought that was easy money, and they lose to San Francisco.
People are asking me, a few of my friends have said, why are you on such a roll? My second best bet on the card yesterday was San Francisco. And I will tell you why. You had a home dog. And I was just talking to your producer off air about how I handicap college basketball now is I just write down every single home dog on the card. Because if you look at home dogs last night, I want you to do this when we get off air. Look at all your home dogs last night. Watch how many covered. And watch how many of them won outright. It's happening every night. Every night you're getting 5-6 home dogs winning outright. So you had St. Mary's coming off the big win against Gonzaga. Now they're going on the road. Let down flat spot. San Francisco, good basketball team, competitive basketball team, especially at home. Didn't think they'd win the game outright. They were getting 5.5, 6, I think, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6. It's just a flat spot. And if you're in college basketball and you're handicapping college basketball, if you lay road chalk, you're asking for problems. There's no reason to. There's too much good value on the card to mess around with road chalk, because you're going to get bit in the you-know-what, which you did last night. Stay away from road chalk. Find you some home favorites. Yep.
So you're taking Fresno State plus 12.5 against Utah State tonight?
Well, the problem is I did – hold on a minute. Now, I know we want to get in the Super Bowl, but now you're going to a conference that I made unbelievable money with 2 games.
Yep.
3 weeks ago, I had San Jose State at home plus 8 over New Mexico State. Earlier in the year, San Jose State went to New Mexico State plus 19, lost by 2. It was never a double-digit game, which means New Mexico could not blow them out. And if you can't beat them by double digits at your place, you're not going to beat them at double digits at your place. At their place, if they out-rebounded you. And the rebounding margin with New Mexico and San Jose in New Mexico was dead even. I said, they're not getting blown out. They won the game outright. Now, fast forward to Tuesday night. Wyoming was at home, getting 9 from Utah State. Earlier in the year, Wyoming went to Utah State plus 19, lost by 3, out-rebounded them, and the game was never a double-digit game. I unloaded on Wyoming, lost by 3. So I'm telling you, Fresno tonight, they're missing one of their starters. which is why I didn't jump on it. I actually looked at Dayton at home.
Because Utah State only beat them by 6 at Utah State. That's what I was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it can't get to double digits, they're not going to get to double digits on Wyoming's home. Wyoming literally on Saturday went into San Diego State and almost beat the Aztecs, lost by 2, 63-61. They're gritty. They're grinding.
But there's three. New Mexico, Utah State was one of the games you gave on the show last week.
Blew them out.
Yep.
There's three teams I like to bet on. One is Grand Canyon. 2 is his team, Eli's team, Edwardsville. And the 3rd is Little Rock. I like to bet those guys a lot. But by the way, the last night, all he needed was St. Mary's on the money line. I just needed them to win. That's why I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch.
I know.
So anyway, all right. You live, you learn. I wish I was here last Friday for your picks, but it is what it is.
So last week when we talked about the Super Bowl, you went through all of the numbers. Everything points you the direction of Kansas City. Has anything changed in your mind in the last week?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Good, because I'm leaning one way. I know which way I'm leaning.
Couple of things. I'll start on the Kansas City side. Yes, they're trying to make history, and I get it. But in my opinion, they don't deserve to make history. This is a team that was arguably one of the luckiest teams in NFL history during the regular season to get to 15-1. And in my mind, at best, they were a 9-8 or 10-6 football team because there were games they won they had no right winning. Now, granted, good teams find ways to win. Other teams, those good teams, find ways to win, but they don't need luck to get it done. The Broncos missing basically an extra point, having it blocked to win. The Raiders in field goal range fumble the snap. The Chargers have them beat. Third backup string kicker hits the goalpost, bounces through. The Falcons have 3rd down and 1 at the 12-yard line with 1:50 to go and can't pick up 2 yards to score, down 22-17. Cincinnati has them beat in KC, 4th and 15. Pass interference penalty gives KC the win. And we all know what happened week 1 with the toe on the line against the Baltimore Ravens. This Philadelphia team is the better team. They have the better defensive line. They have the better offensive line. They have the better running game. And what nobody's talking about is Philadelphia was 2-2, and they went 15-1 to close the year. And the game they lost at Washington was because of a 3rd down drop by Devontae Smith. When he catches it, they take a knee. They finished the season 16-0. I don't want to hear about Spagnuolo going against Jalen Hurts and this, that, and the other thing. Hurts was in his 2nd year 2 years ago when he put up 35 on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. The next point of interest for me, and this is just something I know Andy Reid, the coach, I get, like we told you last week, that Super Bowl coach is facing the guy for the 2nd time. It's 4-0. I get all that. But I just cannot get past the fact that if you just took Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, you'd be all over Philadelphia. The guy scares you. And then I hear all these commentators this week talking about that Kansas City's playing so well now. Are they really? The Texans outgained them, outpassed them, outrushed them, out-time of possession, didn't turn over, became the first team in NFL history to lose a playoff game, 49-1. They got dominated. The Chiefs had 56 yards rushing and 138 yards passing against the Texans. Oh, but their offense is playing well. That was at home. Josh Allen, he just happens to read the blitz coming from right and looks over to his left. His running back is probably still running to New Orleans. He just didn't see it. He didn't make the play that was in front of him once again. Go back a year ago, AFC Championship game, at home, 3rd and 6, 22-yard line. He's got the check down for the 1st down to the 10-yard line. He throws deep, misses the end zone, they miss the field goal, and the Kansas City Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. So, in my opinion, I want to use KC. I really, really do. But the biggest mistake I made in my life was I thought Kansas City could beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they couldn't, because their offensive line could not block the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they got blown out 31-9. And I just think that you have an offensive line that gave up the 3rd most pressures in the NFL on a fast track, indoors, on turf. They're just not the better team. They're not. Philadelphia is the better team. And when you have the advantages that they have, the only way they lose this game is turnovers. And I can handicap a Super Bowl being 26-6, and I'm like, I'm going to get 3 turnovers in this game in case he's going to win. I'm going to lose with the better team, the better defense, the better defensive line, the better offensive line, and a better running game. And what you want to try to stop Saquon Barkley. But I'm sorry, the offensive line of Philadelphia is just too good.
It's funny because you mentioned that Devontae Smith drop. Remember the loss early in the year to the Falcons when it was Saquon who dropped the ball on the pass that would have given him a first down. They could have ran the clock out. Those two guys both make those catches. They would have only lost 1 game all season.
Yeah, they listen. They went into Cincinnati, beat them 37-17. They blew out Pittsburgh 27-10. They went into Baltimore, beat the Ravens 24-19. People are acting like this team is they act like Patrick Mahomes is just going to go out there and score 30 and get the MVP and ride off into the sunset. This team has been living on borrowed time all year long, and I get it. I get you win. I get you get it. But you're just running into a better team. And, guys, I don't think it's going to be close. I think Philadelphia wins the game 31-20.
Brandon, let me ask you this. Kansas City, and I tend to agree with you. I'm not sure about that score, but I tend to agree with you with everything you said about Philadelphia. Right now, Kansas City's a 1-point favorite. Let's say Patrick Mahomes, God forbid, got sick and he couldn't play. Carson Wentz is the starter. What's the line?
Philly -3.
So it's only -3. Okay. I didn't know if it would go up to like -6 or something like that. I was trying to make the point again that it's Philadelphia's totality versus, and not that the Chiefs don't have good players, they do, but it's the magic of Mahomes versus the totality of this Eagles team, which dominates in the trenches, has the best running back in the NFL, along with Derrick Henry, and a very capable and competent quarterback. So are you going with the magic, like you said, being able to Houdini himself out of what probably was 3 or 4 losses, and they won. So I tend to agree with what you're saying. The trenches, that's where this game is decided, and I think the Eagles have a decided advantage.
The thing I want to point out is Andy Reid had 2 weeks to prepare for the Houston Texans. He had 2 weeks to scheme offensively. He had 2 weeks to get ready for their defense. They struggled. They had 50 yards rushing. Mm-hmm. They had 131 yards passing at home against the Houston Texans defense, a defense that the Baltimore Ravens 4 weeks earlier dismantled and destroyed. So if you just took away the hype of Patrick Mahomes, this is an average Kansas City Chiefs football team that, like I said, at best 9-8 or 10-7. That's without even pushing it. But they just found ways to win games that they shouldn't have won, and I just think they're running into a team that matches up well with them. Yes, Fangio scares the hell out of me, and I may be in jail on Monday morning when I'm in KC trying to find this guy, and I'll show up at his house and I'll figure out a way just to beat him, because that's the only way they're going to lose the game is if he doesn't scheme the way he needs to scheme against Mahomes. But I think if he just slows them down, because I think the matchup is, I think Philadelphia offensively is going to have their way with that defense. I really, really do.
Any prop bets that you like?
The best bet on the board, forget betting the Super Bowl, just the best bet on the entire board is a prop bet. You see, Fox News is a Republican channel. They love Donald Trump. Fox Sports has the Super Bowl. The over-under of how many times the President of the United States is shown during the telecast is 1.5. That is a mortal lock winner. They are going to show the President twice in that game based on the fact that it's Fox. The Trump, the Donald. Oh, 1.5.
How about as far as a prop as with the game itself, yardage, things like that? Is there anything that stands out for you with that?
Yes, Devontae Smith over 4.5 receptions. I think you can't put McDuffie one-on-one on A.J. Brown. I just don't. I think he's going to light him up. They're going to have to double him. And I think Smith I think Smith is great at over 4.5, and I think anytime touchdown at plus 1,800. Goddard, anytime touchdown, plus 1,700. I think both those guys are going to play a significant role. And Saquon Barkley, over 118 yards rushing. I just can't see them on a fast track slowing him down. I just don't. I think he's going to have a monster game.
Rushers, though.
Spags
but they
does
do
not
struggle
give
with
them up.
tight ends. I think Goddard. I like Goddard props because I think Goddard. If Philadelphia wins, I think Goddard has a big game.
Oh, I agree with that. But here's my point: is that teams have success running the ball against KC, and then they stop, and the guy will have 81 yards or 74 yards. They're not going to stop with Barkley. They'll keep, and Hurts for that matter. Is that this is, look at the quarterbacks they've played in the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, Tom Brady beat them, and now here comes Jalen Hurts who put 35 on them. So I get it. I get they've won 3 Super Bowls. They got rocked by one quarterback who crushed them, but they faced Kyle Shanahan and the Niners twice, and Philly put up 35 on them. So I get it. They've won 3, and they're going for 3 in a row. I just don't think they deserve it. I don't think they're the better team. Now, I may do your show next Friday just as we recap, and we'll talk March Madness, and I may go, well, I just learned my lesson. I'll never go against that again. I'll say that, and I'll be like, well, I got what I deserved, and thank God I'm absolutely on fire in college basketball because after the Super Bowl, it's all about hoops into March Madness, and we'll make a ton of money there. But I can't go with just Mahomes because he's going for 3 in a row. He just can't get beat. I'm going to lose with the better team, and I've watched Philly all year long. And when they decide to play, when they decide to bring it, they're a really, really good football team. They really are complete.
Get the yellow wiffle ball bat ready just in case you got to go on a Vic Fangio hunt.
I want to go to jail just so you guys can go, hey, you hear about Lang? Oh, my God. They arrested him outside Fangio's house. I mean, I knew the guy was crazy. He's been on our show for a few years, and we love him to death, but he really snapped. He caught a plane. He was outside Fangio's house and confronted him at the door and punched him, and now he's in jail. Man, Lang really went off the rails. He said he was going to do it. I mean, it was premeditated.
Well, listen, enjoy the game. We'll recap it all next Friday. He's Brandon Lang. The website, BrandonLang.com. The podcast is 2 for Your Money. You can hear that on the Believe Podcast Network. TV show called Cappers on the Pluto Network. He is Brandon Lang. Thank you, Brandon.
Got it, guys.
Take care. All right. We'll make our picks when we come back. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue for the big game on Sunday. Got a little party, little gathering. It makes sense to have some delicious barbecue from Corky's. Corky's will cater any sized event you got coming up, big party. I don't care what size it is. That's what they do. They've done it for 4 decades. They're really good at it. They'll start you out as low as $7.99 per person for that delicious slow-smoked barbecue. You can dine in at any of their 4 restaurants. You can carry out, no contact delivery, go through the drive-thru, or have any of the delivery services, I should say, deliver to your home or office. Lunch specials every day, party packs that start at just $7.49. When you get your entree for lunch or dinner, add a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99. Delicious Q and ribs. The barbecue nachos are out of this world. They got great wings as well. I always like to start off with a cheese and sausage plate. And you want to go outside the barbecue family? How about their award-winning catfish plate, tamales, even burgers, and amazing desserts? Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. It's Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. They're open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, and gemstones to watches. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com and Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers. I'm Gary York. I'm the service director. I'd like to
56 in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes. Or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger-buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. We can't wait to serve you.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Benslinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benslinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all their freshly installed glass. Visit Benslinger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit BenslingerGlass.com. Benslinger Glass.
This hour brought to you by Sports 56. Once again, Greg Gaston.
So I follow this account. It's called Awful Announcing on Twitter. And they got a split screen picture of the cast from Get Up on ESPN. And it was yesterday and then the same time today. Same location where their set is in New Orleans. The cast completely flip-flopped their picks. Yesterday, they all picked the Chiefs. Today, they all picked the Eagles. I love what Awful Announcing says. This is clearly in violation of the Geneva Convention or some sports TV equivalent. I bring that up to say we just had Brandon Lang on, who flipped from what he originally thought. So what is going on in the wide, wide world of sports? Everybody now all of a sudden thinks the Eagles
he didn't
are
really
good.
flip. He just gave a bunch of numbers last week that said that all went towards the Chiefs.
Okay, but
which they do.
You got a whole crew that flipped. They knew the numbers. They do their research. They use their eyes. It's starting to concern me now because we're about to make picks, and you probably know which way I'm leaning. And now all these other dudes are leaning this way. But I'll start it off. And this is one of the hardest not that I've been right all the time, but I have been right occasionally. But last year or 2 years ago, I hit the score exactly. I think this was one of the hardest to predict. Even though I'm from the area, I don't care about the Eagles. I'd love to see the Chiefs get a three-peat, but I think my hard-earned money...
Let's call them your team on the show.
It was an accident one freaking time. Stop bringing it up from 10 years ago.
Just saying.
Call
them your team.
Hey, by the way...
Hard to accidentally say something.
By the way, because of Philadelphia, I meant to say... Anyway, Pat Riley is denied a lot more money if Kansas City loses because he owns the trademark to three-peat, and they've already made a deal and all that. It'd be cool because it's never happened before. But the Philadelphia Eagles are the better team. Mahomes is the magical one, and it's hard to bet against him. That's why it makes it so tough. I'm going Philadelphia, the Eagles to win 24-23 in a great game, a classic. 24-23, fly, Eagles, fly. What do you got, Elijah?
No surprise you would take your team.
So I've been going back and forth for the 2 weeks that we've been awaiting this game now, and every single time that I stray away from my intuition via rationalization, I try to bring myself to say, hey, the Eagles are the better team. Hey, the Eagles are hot. Saquon Barkley, how are you going to stop Saquon Barkley? But my intuition, however hard I try to rationalize, intellectualize. It does not matter. It goes back to the Kansas City Chiefs. And until I see otherwise, I am riding with the Chiefs Kingdom 23-19. I do think it'll be a close game, but I'm rolling with the Chiefs.
Wow, so very similar as far as totals and low scoring, but going with Casey. And I understand that rationale. That's the way I thought about Kansas City in the playoff games leading up to this one, and I'm going against the grain. Eli Savoy, you got the last word.
I'm going with numbers. I'm going with history. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Give me a score.
I think I said 24-20 the other day, so I'll go 24-20.
Wow, 24-20, 24-23, and 23-19. What's the number, the total now?
48, I believe it is.
48.5.
48.5.
48.5. So is that all unders, right? Yeah, all unders. Watch, this will be 75 total points, just an absolute blowout. Nobody plays defense. If that happens, I don't know who that favors.
I'd imagine the Eagles.
See, I think the Eagles and their defense will keep it a low-scoring game. If it's a high-scoring game, that means Kansas City has put up points against that Eagles defense. But I don't know. I just think this is going to be a fun game, a close game. I think it's going to be record-setting viewing. Can't wait. And again, we're going to have the game for you. Of course, you're going to be watching the game. But if you're driving around in your car, you're going to pick up some food, or you just want to straight listen at home while you're watching, listen to it right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We'll have it for you starting with the hours and hours of pregame leading up to the kickoff. That starts at 1 o'clock right here, again, on Sports 56, 98.5 FM. Mentioned earlier, Ben Simmons and the Nets. The Nets are finalizing a contract buyout. It's been reported by Yahoo Sports that the Cavaliers and the Clippers are very interested in possibly bringing in Ben Simmons for his services, which would include some sort of injury or two. But they're just two of the teams. Who knows if there's any interest from other teams as well. We want to thank you folks for listening. Your calls, your texts, we always appreciate it. Thanks to our guests, John Varlas, Matt Dillon, Brandon Lang. Monday, we'll be at Dinstall's. Starting bright and early at 7 a.m. They're going to open up early. We're going to be there all the way through John Harden's show. So 7 to 1, come see us at Dinstall's on Pleasant View. Among our guests, comedian Sam Morrill. He will be joining us on the program. Super Bowl recap, all kinds of great stuff. Grizzlies, Oklahoma City Saturday. Tigers and Temple on the hardwood on Sunday. That'll do it for us. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next for Eli Savoy and for Elijah Seegers. I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy the big game, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday.